Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Rainbow Six Pro League. My name is Parker Interrobang Mackay, as always joined by Michael Kickstar Stockley. And today is our last day of the season before we head to Sao Paulo and wrap things up at LAN. And of course, we're going to go out with a bang with 4 wonderful EU teams representing us today.
Yeah, today's going to be a great day for sure. Let's take a look at the bracket, see exactly what matches are going to be popping up for you just to start us off. It's going to be ENCE Esports versus Pentasports, and then also Millennium versus Snookin' Nose. 2 very intense matches to be certain.
I'm excited for both, and the other thing too that is going into this is that you've got both ENCE and Penta, these absolute juggernauts, which I think from the start a lot of teams or a lot of people thought that these would be the 2 teams representing us from EU. Of course, they were last season with Millennium as well. But take a look at the top 4. 3 of those went to LAN at Gamescom, and here they are again in that top 4 with Snookin' Nose, formerly known as Playing Ducks, who've also been to LAN before. So it shows how consistent Europe has been as a region so far.
Absolutely. Now, we already know which of these 4 teams are going to be going to LAN. It's going to be ENCE and Penta, but they still have to compete for seeding. Millennium and Snookin' Nose also going to be competing for seeding, but just in the season overall. Let's take a look now at the schedule and see the matches that we will be playing in their order. Pentasports versus ENCE Esports is going to be your first match of this evening, followed swiftly by Millennium versus Snookin' Nose. And then at the end, we also have a seeding show for you. That is going to be us finding out where exactly each of these teams are going to be playing from the various regions at the Brazil Finals, the end of the season.
Absolutely. And the big thing for me is going to be seeing the way the seeding works. Of course, when we do get to the seeding show, people will see how things shake out. And one thing to note is that because Penta already has a spot at the Invitational, ENCE, by nature of facing off against them today, guarantees their spot to the Invitational as well. So ENCE will join Ainz, will join Black Dragons, will join Continuum, Elevate, and Penta now. So now we know 6 of the teams that will be fighting against each other in Montreal in February. And ENCE doesn't even need to win their game today to get the spot, which is a relief to them. However, still at stake is, of course, that first seed, because if you get first seed, chances are you should have an easier time to make it to the finals. One would assume.
It's definitely gonna help you a lot in your placement in the bracket. Of course, you know, going up against the second seed as a first seed from whatever region you end up falling up against, but. Who knows exactly who's going to win in this match and who's going to secure that first seed spot. It's still either team's match.
Absolutely, and they're very evenly matched up as well. These are the 2 behemoths of EU. They have been consistent time and time again. And speaking of them, though, we have an interview ready with Penta. We'll be talking to Fabian again for, I think, the 4th time this season. A very consistent team and, of course, a very consistent interview schedule. And Fabian, how are you doing today?
I'm just good.
That's good to hear. I'm going to have a couple general questions today because I feel like we've already fleshed out a lot of these questions over the last couple weeks. So basically the focus is going to be on the this postseason so far, as well as heading towards LAN. So the first question that I've asked everybody that I've interviewed so far, give us your predictions about LAN. Of course, feel free to be as biased or as unbiased as you'd like, but now that all the teams are locked in, weigh in on what you've seen.
Well, we're going to win it. That's pretty much it.
I mean, I can't say I'm too surprised with that in a man of very little words. So, I mean, you can elaborate on your opponents as well, but regardless, you are going for your 3rd championship, which would mean that you've won every single one this season. And of course, one thing that's been talked about on Twitter and online on social media is the title of World Champions. Now, a lot of people refer to the World Champions as, of course, the winners of the Invitational. If you prevail in Season 3 and you've won every single season so far and you head into the Invitational, and you lose, do you still see that as a wasted effort? What are the expectations heading into the Invitational when you go to try and dethrone CTM, who's going to be going in as the defending champions?
I think we've quite already proven what we're worth, and I think that it doesn't really matter what results happen. I think we're still one of the best teams in the world, and that's good enough for me.
Wonderful. And I'm sure going to be looking forward to seeing if you're able to get the 3-peat this season, which would be quite a feat in and of itself. And last question for you. Let's take a look back at this season so far in the European region. In comparison to the way North America, Latin America, and APAC have all worked as regions, what are your main takeaways on the EU teams and play so far this season? And what do you think we're going to be looking at next season as well for your region?
Since next season is so far away, it's hard to say what we're going to see then. I don't think we have had any surprises this season in Europe. We're both, us and ENCE, are the teams that should go to LAN. But other than that, I think we have the most even region with the amount of teams. Like, all the teams are really good. And I don't think we have that top 2 or top 3 teams. We have 6 really strong teams, and all of them can go to LAN.
Well, I think we can say that for most of the regions. They've been a really competitive season so far, and we've seen some really great matches. I don't think that your match day against against ENCE, rather, because you are Penta, is going to be any different. But thank you so much for your time. Before we end the interview, anything you'd like to say to your fans or the community at large?
I just hope they enjoy the game that's coming up now.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Fabian, always sometimes brief, but very pointed in what he has to say.
Confident, in a word. Let's take a look at Penta's roster, see their lineup. It has not seen any deviation. Fabian, Pengu, KS, Goga, and Junis. And again, a very confident roster going to be going into this match against ENCE, a match that they've seen many times before, and I don't think that they're going to be caught off guard by anything ENCE has to throw at them, especially considering, technically speaking, the stakes for this match aren't nearly as high as they could be.
Right, and Penta's going to come into this with very little to prove as well, so it'll be,
yeah.
I think we might see some new things from them just to try out. This is, of course, going to be a test run coming up to LAN, and I think that's something as well that a couple teams have said, that they've used these matches, these seeding matches, as a way to try out new things in a competitive environment outside of scrims. With Penta's roster, though, all said and done, we have Shate ready for ENCE, and we're going to take a look at our second interview yet, or rather, in just a moment he will be ready as we set up just a bit of technical difficulties here. And for ENCE, when you're going in, just before we get to Shate, a game of expectations, Penta has been the dominant European team. If you're ENCE, what are you going to be looking at to try and topple them?
Well, much like Shate's seeming attitude, which you'll see in a bit towards this match, I think you're just going to have to look towards this match as a do the best we can sort of deal. I mean, it would be great to topple Penta in the playoffs, but I don't think they care as much about the seeding as they could, as is really necessary. And I think going into the finals, they're going to be happy with either result.
And we'll ask Shate himself as we bring him up on the screen for all of you to see. Shate, how are you doing?
Hello, everybody. I'm doing fantastic. How about you?
It's good. I like the new haircut. Is it new?
Thank you. It is pretty new. It is pretty new. Yeah.
It's.
I'm glad you like it.
I like that we're matching in hairstyle. It's very complimentary. So, with that said, let's get into these interview questions here for you now. This is your seeding matchup. You've played Penta many times before. This is a team that you know very well. First question for you, and some of these questions will be the same as I've asked to Penta, but this one's going to be a little different. Penta has been the most dominant team out of your region for the last couple seasons, with ENCE always frustratingly just an inch behind them. What have you done so far this season, and what are you going to be preparing for at LAN to try and prove that you can topple Penta and be the team to represent your region?
I mean, we always have to just do our best, and Penta is obviously the best contender from the EU at the moment. So we just have to like try to adjust our best to their game style, and like if we do things right, we can win them. It's heavily depending on the maps we play. So yeah, I will just hope that our practice and everything works, and everything goes well. It's only about practice.
Wonderful. And I imagine that you'll have been prepared for your matchup today, and that the match if you meet at LAN, of course, in the second round or the round thereafter, that we will see some fireworks. Now, the one question that I asked Penta that I'd like to ask to you is take a look back at the EU region this season. See how far the growth has been, the fact that you and Penta are once again representing them. What are your main thoughts and takeaways in regards to EU as a region as a whole? What have you seen growth-wise, and what changes have you seen this season, and what do you think we'll see next season?
I don't know about next season. I usually don't know anything. I just play. I hardly even know like the teams teams in the Pro League. Yeah, I mean EU. Well, if you think about like French teams, I don't think we have we don't have any French teams like at the moment in the LAN. So yeah, that's different from if you think about the past. And yeah, I feel like if you check Challenger League, there is really good teams in the Challenger League too. So I'm really curious about the future of the Pro League. We will see some nice teams in the future, 100% contending in the Pro League.
I think Challenger League for every single region has put on an excellent performance this season in particular. I think whether you're in North America, Latin America, well, APAC, now that their finals are done, and as well now EU too, I think there are a lot of teams down there that are going to be able to challenge these Pro League teams. Now, the final question for you is, give us your thoughts and predictions on LAN. Fabian, I don't know if you heard, but Fabian said a very pointed, we're going to win it all. That's all he needed to say. Give us your prediction on LAN. What do you think we're going to see? What fireworks are going to emerge between these teams? And feel free to be as biased or as unbiased as you'd like.
Okay, I see how it is, Fabian. I see how it is. First of all, we are going to win the LAN. We are going to win the LAN. We are going to boot camp. We are going to do it right. We are going to win it. Fabian, watch out. I have your name on my bullet, boy.
All right. I guess that's all that really needs to be said. Now, before we cut the interview, is there anything you would like to say to your fans or the community as a whole before we get into the match?
I want to thank you, everybody. Let's have a nice match. Enjoy this evening. And yeah, thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, Shate.
Later.
Well-groomed as always. I think a little self-conscious of the fact that some people were saying that his hair was graying, and of course, a makeover for him. Let's take a look at ENCE's roster and see the other players other than Shate who will be competing today. Boonsi, Wilkie, Panari, and Kantoraketti.
Yeah, and this is, again, the only team in the entire Pro League that has still gone to every single LAN event for the PC. And they are going to be continuing that this season. The big question is, will they be able to finally, for the first time ever, get their win? And of course, in this match against Penta, they're going to be competing for that first seed out of Europe, which will aid them in that goal. But from this lineup, you haven't seen any serious change, or you haven't seen any real changes for quite a long time, and everyone here has been finding themselves in a great place to influence the round through and through. You can see Shate, the standout performer for ENCE Esports, and as he said, he doesn't know anything. One of the objectively best performers in the entire Pro League.
I would be confident enough to rank Shate on probably the top 5 best players in this game at the moment, regardless of region and regardless of tenure. And it's something that really shows with his team, because when Shate has a good day, so does the rest of the team. When Shate has a bad day, it's tough. Now, no slouch, of course, to the other 4 gentlemen who represent ENCE. By no means do you make it this far in to every single LAN just being carried by one person. It has been a team effort. However, we just want to give some commendation and credit where credit is due. Now, we've had an opportunity to take a look at how the meta has shifted so far this season, and this will be the last time for us to do it before we head to Brazil. So the attack operators that have been used so far this season, here are your top 5.
Yeah.
Numbers are very difficult.
It's going to be Hibana at 95%, Ashe, Buck, Thermite, and Thatcher. So it's been a lot of the same for most regions. And while it does say North America there, I would just like to say that it is actually, in fact, the European region's top 5. It's been a lot of the same for each region. And one thing to note, of course, is that 95% for Hibana. Usually we see her around 85%. It doesn't get that high up. But you can see she's not seeing a lot of not being played.
No, she's integral to a lot of these attacks. And one thing to note between the regions is North America did not have, if I remember correctly, Thermite was not in neither North America nor Latin America's top 5. But now here he is.
No, he was in Latin America's top 5.
Was he in Latin America's top 5?
Yeah, they do. Latin America and Europe both bring those double hard destructors, and that allows them a lot more maneuverability if they lose one of them.
Right.
But I believe you're correct in saying that he was not in the North America.
He was missing from North America,
right.
100%. And I like that because you think that in the region where he is missing the most, which is North America, that Hibana would be higher, but this is her highest region.
Yeah.
Which is astonishing to say the least. And Buck being up there, I think this is the only region where he is in the top 5 and the one where Ying is not up there as well. And with that said, we can take a look at defense as well.
Yeah, let's see the defenders top 5 brought up here. And it's going to be Mira, Smoke, Jaeger, Bandit, Ela, and look at that, 71 to 63.5, wow. A staggeringly close statistic for all 5 of these operators, seeing almost the same exact 5 throughout each and every defense round here in Europe.
I am not shocked that these are the 5 that are on the board, but I am really, really surprised with how close they are.
I mean, yeah, look at that. There's barely any difference at all. And you could tell that what that means for Europe is obviously, since these aren't all at 100%, what that means is that each and every operator gets rotated out about an even amount through all of the different teams in the European region. And again, while it does say Latin America up there, this is the European Defender top 5, just for clarification.
It's the lowest that Ela is in any single region. I would be very interested to know what number 6 is. I'm assuming it would probably be Valkyrie, but I would be very curious to know the actual percentage and how close she is.
It's probably Valkyrie.
With 63%, I would imagine that there's probably a far drop-off after that point, or a steep drop-off. But nonetheless, we have seen that at the start of the season, there was a bit of uncertainty. We saw a lot of mute play, a lot of castle. Now we are seeing a solidification of the operators that are preferred on both sites. And we'll see that when the other Polish operator and the South Koreans come in, if that is going to change. And of course, if you haven't seen, there is a teaser that was posted by Ubisoft's Twitter regarding both of them. It is very exciting. They are on the way.
Yeah, now, without further ado, let's get into the map bans and see what these teams are going to bring us to. Now, as stated previously by Shate, the map ban phase for this match is going to be very influential to the overall outcome. We know that Penta is a team who is comfortable on any of the maps. They've touted that as one of their strengths for a long time now, since Year 2 Season 1. And they're probably going to be fine if they find themselves on a coastline, on a skyscraper, or anything along those lines, anything out of the norm. And so on the other hand are going to be the ones banning to try and bring it to their comfort maps. And I think that that's going to be one of Penta's goals, is just to counterban all of the comfort maps for ENCE, but we'll see.
If your ENCE first goes Consulate, I'm assuming?
I would probably ban out Consulate for Penta. I mean, while Penta's comfortable on every map, they still have their particular maps where they excel. So I'm guessing ENCE will get rid of Consulate, unless it's a plan that they have to try and dethrone Penta by taking them to a map they're familiar on and having it super practiced and ready to go.
Right. I mean, you can also, if you're ENCE, you can also wait to do Consulate dead last. You don't need to go right away.
True.
It doesn't need to be the first ban, because you know that you have 3. But surprisingly, Coastline up there with Cafe Dostoevsky. So 2 maps that might be a surprise to both teams are immediately gone, and now it goes back to Penta to pick theirs. I wonder if we're going to see a pretty standard 3 setup. If we're going to see a Border and Oregon and then something else in addition to that as your tiebreaker. Clubhouse has seen an astonishingly high amount of play so far. So it could be that. But as I say that, Oregon disappears and away she goes.
I think Clubhouse has been seeing a lot of play lately because of Penta in the last finals when they played Clubhouse. We've talked about this before. They're a bit of a trend-setting team. Last time we saw them play on Border, they defended Customs, and that then became like the normal thing to do, is just in Pro League defend Customs as an off-map, and it works really well for pretty much anybody who tries to use it. So, you know, they tend to set those trends, and they did set it with Clubhouse. So if this ban phase, I guess that ENCE is probably going to want to ban out Clubhouse, if not Consulate here in this situation.
Clubhouse or Consulate are the 2 maps that I would say are going to go. I will be shocked if one of those, or both of those rather, stay in play, and then just hope that one of them goes to overtime. And then you go, Clubhouse is gone, but they will leave Consulate, which so far Penta has looked unbeatable on Consulate this season. And with Border and Bank adding to that, those are the 3 maps that we are going to play on. The team should now be ready, or at least in just a moment ready, to actually be able to pick where we are going to see them play. You've got Bank, you've got Border, you've got Consulate. Penta presumably will pick Consulate.
I would assume they're going to pick Consulate. I mean, they could also go to Bank or Border, though. Again, we've talked about this before. They will be the first pick of this pick phase, and they honestly, they kind of won this ban phase.
I got to agree. I got to think that Penta, I mean, when you are as versatile as them, and no surprise their Consulate will go first, and then of course ENCE is going to pick one. I wouldn't be too surprised to see ENCE pick Border and then have Bank be the decider, but I mean, that's my opinion. I could be completely wrong, and that will leave us with a very exciting matchup. But I figure you're taking, and there we go, Bank actually, with Border being the decider. That is surprising to me. I was incorrect.
Well, Border is another map that Penta excels on. So I think that ENCE was just like, we'll just go to Bank. Fine, that works. Again, I really have to say 2 of the 3 maps are going to favor Penta in this best of 3 very clearly from past performances. So it's on ENCE basically to have read into Penta's preferences, like the understanding that they really like Consulate and understanding that they excel at Border, and practicing on those maps to then counter Penta's play. But the problem is, and we've seen this a number of times, every time Penta gets countered, it just usually doesn't work out for the team that's trying to counter them because Penta is so good at adapting. But let's take a look at the community poll before we jump into this match real quick. We'll see what you guys decided were going to be the winner here.
Wow, that is not a surprise given how powerful Penta has performed in every season so far, and this one is no exception, but I figured it would have been a little bit closer than that. The game is ready. We will launch straight in, and to Consulate we go. We'll see you in just a moment. Just give us a nice view of ourselves just to make sure we look good before we launch into the actual matchup itself.
And here you can see it's going to be ENCE on attack and then Penta on defense to start things off. We're going to have a top floor defense first coming out from Penta, as well as a Kapkan. So, Kapkan, he has actually been seeing a surprising amount of play in the Pro League throughout each region. I think he's kind of taken it by storm almost. It's kind of not really being focused on by many people, because if you think about Kapkan as an operator, the utility that he brings is something that just fits into the back of the mind. It's not a direct counter to anything in particular. It's just kind of like a, hey, nuisance, here you go. So
a direct counter could be a lack of coordination and
you
a lack
could
of
say,
time.
yeah, a lack of coordination, maybe.
He punishes those that are out of place.
It hurts the time, but honestly, it's just a pain. And I think that's why a lot of teams have been opting to bring Kapkan, is just because,
Absolutely.
hey, we can make people have to worry about this one extra thing. Why not? I mean, especially considering his SMG is, and they didn't change his SMG. It's always been good. And now the fact that he's a 2-armor 2-speed, that really synergizes with a lot of the play styles of professional players. And people will be comfortable playing with a guy that has good gun, a good speed now, and a trap situation whereby he can delay the push for a significant amount of time.
And an interesting fact that doesn't apply at all to this matchup whatsoever. The very first ace that I ever got in Rainbow Six was from Kapkan.
Do you
so
know,
there you go.
When I started playing Rainbow Six Siege, like right at the beginning, I only played the Russian operators.
There you go.
It was just Russian operators. I was like mostly Fuse and Kapkan were my jam. And yeah, no, they were great. I mean, it's just the speed, I think, that really hurt them for the longest time. And now that Kapkan's 2-armor 2-speed, people are like, why not?
I know that with the amount of hostage that people play, Fuse is a must pick on attack.
Oh,
and
absolutely,
hostage,
yeah.
He's just too strong.
You got to make sure that you get the hostage. It's very important that you give him your hockey pucks to try and just make him feel better about his life.
Absolutely.
Hockey brings brightness into the life. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at this round. It's going to be ENCE positioning themselves on the A balcony. You can see that Pengu is going to be the one to receive Boonsy on this engagement, but this is usually the other way around. Usually we see Pengu on the A balcony. This is kind of his domain, so it's likely he's going to have at least a better time than most would while defending. But no, Kanto takes out KS behind reception with a nice shot. Goga refragging onto Panari, and you can see it's a back and forth here as Pengu gets his first kill of the round onto Boonsy, securing the A balcony.
Kanto under pressure inside of Yellow Stairs will now need to seek some shelter away from that, but he's going to get a kill before he can get away. Fabian goes down, and that is the Kapkan out, but his trap's still very much in play. Shate, without that diffuser inside of the site, if only he held onto it, they would be able to start getting their plant off. You'll see a beauty goes right in, and Shate is going to be in a lot of trouble as Wilkie goes down to Eunice, and now they're trying to flush out the smoke of Pengu. Good job holding up on site at the moment. And you can see that with Wilkie down, so too is the diffuser. They will need to get it just outside of the walls of Yellow Stairs. Kanto's going to get another. That's his third kill so far as Pengu goes down. He has every kill for ENCE at the moment, and there's only Eunice and Goga left. Now Shate is going to pick off Eunice, so Goga, the lone member of Penta, trying to push in. Shate gets his second, and ENCE storms in to Consulate to take round number 1.
A great start there for ENCE, and a good job by Shate and Kanto. That's the Kanto Raketti that we're used to seeing from days of old, and it's awesome to see him really coming out with a bang early on into this match. The aggression onto the Yellow Stairs was telling of one thing in particular, though. Penta did not place enough emphasis on the B bomb site or that side of the map in general, and because of that, they didn't have any way to directly stop Kanto Raketti from opening up with those frags. they really needed something, a player on top of yellow, some barbed wire, at least a little bit more emphasis placed on the yellow stairs, but we're likely to see that adjustment from Penta next time they defend the top floor. ENCE, however, is going to be defending the basement for their first round rather than the top floor. So a little bit of a change here, but we've talked about this many times in the past. Consulate is a map that can be defended from any floor equally easily, to be honest. As long as you've got the strategy for it, it's really not that difficult to maneuver. Now, as ENCE sets themselves up here, it's going to look like they are going to force out a bathroom in the middle floor hold, and we've seen mixed results from this in the past.
Most of the times, a bathroom hold will center around you having a castle as well as a Mira, but in this case, neither being ran from the defense. Instead, Shate running with a dock, presumably because of the ACOG power of having it. However, he's going to go for a spawn peek, but nobody there as Goga and KS managed to get away on time. And that is something that you've seen from other operators in the past. Different now that only 3 armors and 1 speeds have them, but could have think maybe run an Echo, maybe run a Rook there, but a Dock is just fine. Only 3 operators left on defense with your ACOGs.
Pengu going to be taken out early on into this round by Cantor Raketi in a great position to receive him. Now, what was going on there? We saw that Pengu was playing Ashe. He was looking to open up above the main garage panel. And the reason he was trying to do that is there is no Thatcher on the defensive side. Likely they were just relying on the Ashe charge through that window to disable all bandit batteries, but it's not going to happen. Cantor going to get his second kill of the round onto Fabian as he pushes in through the main door. And that is looking even better for ENCE. They seem to have a spark of life on Consulate that I was not expecting going up against a team such as Penta.
Well, the Finns have come out very strong so far, and for Penta, it might just be simply trying to figure them out. Now, one thing that we have seen about Penta a couple times, especially on Consulate, which is very interesting because we have said it is, of course, their map, was in the very first matchup they played on this site, and down goes Eunice as Boonsi jumps into the fray, and that is 3 now in a row for ENCE. No kills on the board for Penta. But touching upon what I was saying is now Shate's going to get in on the fun. As Goga goes down, KS the only one left. The IQ will start to sneak towards those yellow stairs as Wilkie is there to receive him, but will prime a grenade instead and head back into Piano Room. And it's 1v4, a man against the world with half of the round over.
We've seen some great clutches from KS in the past. He's got tons of time, and he has used all his utility, but the potential is still there. He's going to have to worry about Wilkie first and foremost, though, on the top of those yellow stairs. As Wilkie challenges down, he's going to give away his position without doing any significant damage, and that's going to allow KS to rotate down to the lower bit of this yellow staircase. Challenging the black car, not going to find anyone, and he will try to instead kill the Kapkan above. He will hit the no, not a headshot, just a body shot, but that's all it takes, as he evens things out a little bit into a 1 versus 3. Challenging onto Panari, though, he's not going to be able to hit that shot either, and it's going to stall out a little bit more. But again, so much time here for KS to maneuver. Next hurdle is going to be Shate on these spiral stairs. As he runs in, Shate's ready there, in a position, and that's all that it's going to be for this round. Penta lose another one, and it's going to be a 2-0 in favor of ENCE.
Not sure how Panari didn't see him on the stairs there, especially with the smoke. Maybe that obscured his vision. However, you could see the IQ darted in and out of that doorway and was able to get out and reload in time. I'm surprised that, like I said, Panari didn't see it, but that is okay. It happens, and they were able to clean up the kill, and Shate finished the round for them. Now, Penta goes back to defense, and we have ENCE up 2-0, which is surprising, but the point I was trying to touch upon before the mayhem began was that we've seen Penta go down a couple rounds at the start, figure out their opponent, tighten it up, and storm back to win. So
every time.
Every time.
It's every time you see Penta at a deficit, you see them start to make their comeback. And this is the dynasty that is Penta that really familiarizes us with them being on top, is that they always manage to win in the end. But if there's a team that's going to take them down, especially in the European region, it's going to be ENCE. And having a good early lead in this mountain, yes, indisputably Penta's map, I think has got to instill a lot of confidence in ENCE, and morale does mean for quite a lot. As you can see there, the score split between 2 of the ENCE players, Kanto and Shate, really stepping it up for their team.
Both excellent play. Kanto, of course, did get an ace, if I remember correctly, and that in the last matchup that he played on Oregon, and then, of course, the clutch to win the game out. And that was, of course, amidst the fact that some people had held the belief that Kanto was not capable of top fragging like he used to, and I think he firmly rebuked that right in front of audience of thousands.
Yeah, I think that Kanto's been getting a lot of flack for his performance, especially as of late. But it's mostly because there's such high expectations for him as a player. He's of course the Ashe main for NC Sports, but most importantly, he's a really great player. And I think when you have those expectations going into a match, you want to see him perform always. And he's been proving to us as of late that I think that he has been living up to those expectations, and that's great to see.
And one thing, too, if we just want to simply take a look at Font versus Black Dragons, Gohan and Astro, the dynamic roaming combo that are so dangerous when left unattended to, were shut down by Black Dragons. So a major amount of commendation goes to Black Dragons, not because of the fact that the two members of Font had a bad day, but because they were able to effectively neutralize them. And that's really huge for your team, because if you're able to shut down the superstars, then that is going to provide a lot of issues for you. I can't believe they got that Mira.
Yeah, what a shot from Shate.
And Chaos manages to get the drone, but all too late, and that's essentially going to cripple their washroom defense that we'd seen upstairs.
So we haven't talked about this yet, but it is a first floor defense from Penta, which is not necessarily abnormal on Consulate, but the way that ENCE is approaching this from the bottom floor is somewhat. This is going to allow them to circumvent the roamers downstairs and push up on the flank of this bathroom hold. But as Kanto gets hit by the... Oh, Fabian with a double kill onto Kanto and Shate. Those are the two primary fraggers for ENCE just off the board, no longer present in this match.
And they're going to need the rest of the team to pick up the pieces, as Fabian is very low on health, but is still hanging on. And Wilkie, Panari, and Boonsy are going to need to get on site. We hit the 1 minute mark left in round number 3 right now, and of course a lobby take is very difficult if you lack the coordination. Pengu sits above, which is the typical place for your smoke to be, as Panari will crab walk his way up there. Under fire from inside of that desk in the middle of Consulate, you can see that Pengu will, as a distraction, pop the hatch from above, and Panari looking to see, are there any Valk cams? Doesn't matter. Lost, as Pengu is able to get that frag, and now finds us at a 5v2 in favor of Penta, with just Boonsy and Wilkie left. Diffuser in possession of the Thermite, but down he and Wilkie will go as Goga gets the final 2 kills. And that's it. Penta finally shows their prowess, and they don't lose a single operator. A flawless round to put us at 2-1 in favor of ENCE.
Right, you are. And that round, what happened? So ENCE addressing the entire defense from behind, coming up from below specifically in this case, and it really just got caught off guard by the Ela charge in the hallway. And then Fabian on the yellow stairs, roaming above, just ready to shut down that push. I think that's all it really was, though. You could see that Penta had all of their angles covered. If it was going to be a front push, they had people in position inside a bathroom to negate that. If it was, and as well as upstairs in projector. If it was going to be a top floor take, they had somebody to receive the admin push. If it was going to be a CEO take, they had somebody to receive that as well. There was a player in every position for any potential attack, except for the basement, but they were holding firm on that basement as soon as the attack actually made its way to the first floor, which inevitably, even if you're clearing out the roamers downstairs, you have to come back upstairs to attack, well, the middle floor. So that kind of really ruined the way that ENCE was trying to circumvent that whole hold.
I'm surprised they didn't put that pressure on Pengu from above, because you know how standard it is to try and go up top.
I mean, usually you see a push coming in from that A balcony, like with almost every defense, except for the basement. If you're defending the top floor, you're defending the first floor, you're going to be coming onto this A balcony. You're going to try and pressure whoever's inside of projector room, out of projector rooms. That affords you quite a lot of control over the bomb site, whichever one it may be. But not going to happen in that instance, and that's going to allow Pengu also in that round to wreak some havoc. Early on in this round, though, Kanto going to be spawn peeking, going to actually lose some HP without dealing out any damage.
I like that ENCE is going for the spawn peaks against Penta just to try to hold them off, and Pengu's already got a push going on side of A balcony. You can see he tossed the flash in, but there's nobody there, and of course, very few things as fearsome as Pengu on a Blackbeard. Yeah,
I think, again, this is the sort of thing that Pengu is one of those guys known for setting the trend on, is just playing Blackbeard on this A balcony. He's fearsome in this position, and it's definitely, I think, a contributing factor as to why ENCE is playing so safe here. You can see Boonsy playing behind the only hard cover in the entire room, the actual bomb itself.
And so close on that overturned table, but Pengu is able to see Boonsy and is just going to wait for him to move a muscle. Now, yet to be able to shake him as Kanto goes down, but isn't finished off. Fabian is actually the first casualty of this round as Pennari gets the kill on him. And KS is prone, and Pennari will just keep running right out of the way of the gunfire and just leave KS inside of the office.
That's going to allow Pennari to position himself on the Visa stairs. Junior's going to get a kill onto Kanto Raketti, and that's going to be at least the first frag for Penta. KS aware of the Pennari position and will take him down with a swift peek. Looking downstairs, and it's going to be now a 4-on-3 with Ents Swift losing member after member. Another one goes down. Boonsi peeking Pengu on the A balcony, and now a 2-on-4. We've seen Ents in control for the majority of this round, but it's slipping away one kill at a time.
Shate in excellent position with that long sight line into the doorway of A, and the stairwell that heads down into Visa. He'll wait. You can see he can also be able to get Pengu if he does opt to head through that window. He sees KS and gets a couple warning shots, but now needs to move after his position is given away. And Eunice will be able to drone him out as that drone scampers off through that hole. And what a shot from Goga as Shate leaves just Wilkie left. And he's going to need to do some work here. You can hear the diffuser going down. Eunice around the corner sees Wilkie, finishes him off, and we have a tie game 2 apiece.
That was a really well-coordinated attack from Penta. There wasn't a lot of contention coming on to the admin office from Ents. Because of that, it was a pretty easy clear straight on in. More importantly, Boonsi, he did put a really good work in early into the round of denying Pengu the kill inside of the A-bomb site. Boonsi knows. He knew that Pengu was on there. He knew not to challenge Pengu. He's a smart player. But inevitably, once the pressure started coming from those Visa stairs, Boonsi had to move, and he had to leave, again, the man-sized singular piece of hard cover inside of A, which allowed Pengu to sweep up that kill, and then, oh, look at that, you forfeited the entire A bomb site, and the attackers are free to walk in for a simple plan. More importantly, Penta were simply challenging all of the creative angles that Ents were establishing onto the common push spots and winning those fights. Like, I mean, we saw with that Doc who was playing all the way in B. Usually you don't play in B because you're exposed to the windows behind, but when you expect the A attack, it's a pretty, I mean, it's pretty safe to not think that someone's going to be on that window, so why not use that position? It might catch them off guard. It didn't catch Penta off guard.
No, and a very good read all in general by the way that Penta was able to push. When Ents was able to forfeit that entire open area, or cubicles rather, to them, it was very difficult for them to be able to retake it, and it just left Ents essentially waiting for the impending doom to come, and that's exactly what it did. And now, after a bit of a slow start, Penta has found themselves at a fair 2-2, and will now move to defense in hopes of that continuing. They will go downstairs. So not only did it pay off going onto the main floor, but now they have what I think many would argue to be the securest bomb site in their favor. The only thing to stop a push through that main garage is the Twitch drones of Shate, because no Thatcher being ran and no Thatcher really being seen at all so far today.
Yeah, it's interesting that both of these teams are choosing to avoid Thatcher, but I mean, on Consulate, there's a lot of circumstances whereby you would need a Thatcher and you can use something else effectively in his place. As you can see, Kanto Raketti doing what he shut Pengu down on, repelling upside down on the window into Piano and removing the batteries from the main garage panel, thus allowing Wilkie to open up panel number 1.
I like that regardless of what is going on, these teams are getting their attacks off very quickly. This has been a brisk match so far, and it's because you can tell both teams are very practiced. And they've played each other an awful lot as well, so it's not too much of a surprise.
You really got to attribute that. You got to say that Ents versus Penta is kind of the pinnacle of competitive play, structured competitive play, especially in Rainbow Six Siege. This is a pretty significant match, and the teams here are some of the best in the world.
I also like the Legion just as an operation. We've seen, or as an observation.
Whoa!
What is going on?
Shate
walks in, and down go Fabian and Eunice, and the Twitch now will retreat. Oh my word!
That's not supposed to happen, Shate. You're insane. An excellent double kill there, shutting down both the Bandit and the Legion holding yellow stairs, and now Ents has a much better avenue of attack. Goga gonna get Pennari elsewhere, but still, I gotta feel that Penta has got reverberation still inside of them from that double kill.
Kanto adds to the total as down goes Goga and leaves only 2 members of the 5. And they'll just look to try and stay upright. Now Penta, oh, KS, a great shot, blinded as down goes Wilkie, and now Pengu and KS will look to hold on. Now, you still have Pengu available to the team. You still have those Toxic Babes, and they'll now reset the Ash of or sorry, the Blackbeard of Boonsi. But from above, Ash of Kanto spots Pengu, but he manages to move just in time. And they'll now look to pressure. Moving up towards the back of White Van. Kanto surges in, down goes the smoke of Penta, and there's only one left. It's KS, who's got another kill, this time on Boonsi, and he's going to look for Shate. What a shot from KS! It's just Kanto left now. It's a one-on-one with a sliver of health for the Mira down below. But 30 seconds left. Kanto does not have the diffuser. They will just simply try to find KS, and he sees him. See if he'll try to drop the hatch, but he is running out of time. Out goes the Nitro cell inside of that cafeteria to prevent his push. And now here he goes. Hits the goo, gives his position away. Kanto versus KS. He's just simply going to waste time, and as Kanto comes in, finds a barricade, that's going to be it. No time at all. The frustration sets in, and just holding on. Unbelievable that Penta keeps that round for themselves after Shate looked to set it in ENCE's favor so early on.
That was a nice try there as well from Kanto Raketti. He got a little bit too committed to the idea of, okay, I can maneuver around the utility, though. It would have been nice to just see Kanto pushing with his team there on the main garage, maybe challenge from the yellow stairs and you know, go out with a bang. Unfortunately, though, despite, again, like you said, some excellent play from Shate and the rest of ENCE early on in that round, KS was just playing better in that round. He did get, I believe, at least a 3K, which is an excellent performance for KS. Again, we talked about the pinnacle of Rainbow Six play, and again, it's definitely being proven here, I think.
No, and these are two titans of the scene, as we've said many, many times, and it bears repeating. Look at how top-heavy ENCE is at the moment. Kanto and Shate combining for 13 kills.
Jeez.
Unbelievable performance so far from them, and the rest of ENTA is going to need at some point.
ENTA?
Oh, sorry, ENCE.
It's all right.
I can't deal with
Could
these
you
names
imagine the
today.
super team, ENTA?
ENTA.
They just like merge everybody.
It's just a team of 10.
Right, yeah, a team of 10, and they go into every team 10v5, and they just absolutely wallop everyone.
ENCE. As I keep merging the names, I don't know what it is for some reason today.
I've done it before.
I apologize. It only seems to happen here with them. But anyway, my point is that the rest of ENCE is going to need to wake up at some point in order to give their team a fighting chance, because if Kanto and Shate keep getting shut down, it's going to be Penta running amok. And that's what we've seen the last 3 rounds now with 3 in a row.
And we've talked about this before. Usually when you have circumstances like this with teams like ENCE who are just, wow, what a shot from KS, and Pengu with a follow-up onto Wilkie trying to analyze, but they're just like, no, let's get some kills and establish a solid 5-3 man advantage with in less than 30 seconds. Already.
And now 4 as Panari goes to run out right into the Claymore outside a garage of Goga. Now Goga will drone, and there's only 2 members of ENCE left with 30 seconds into this round.
Boonsi and Kanto left in a 2v5. That's not going to be fun. I mean, with the attackers having so much time and knowing Penta, they're not going to be rushing themselves in this situation, and they're likely just going to go for a very structured, slow main garage panel push. They're not going to be doing anything foolhardy. As Goga opens up the main garage panel, he will have the opportunity to push in and plant the diffuser. It's only going to be Boonsi in a position to stop him using his Toxic Babes, but I don't see it as likely to fully stop this take with one smoke kit.
Even without the drone there revealing Boonsi, they know where the smoke is going to be situated. It's very unlikely that your smoke is anywhere except for at the back of the White Van. Now you can see he will get flashed. Eunice is going to come in, and he's going to clean him up, and that's going to be a 5-on-1. Are we going to see another flawless round from Penta, as Kanto has a lot of work to do? 5 members of Penta face off against him. And hard to believe we're only halfway through the round. Diffuser will be successful. You can see Kanto under fire inside a cafeteria. He'll seek the comfort of that destructible wall, but on the stairs of yellow, Fabian is able to get that kill. Another flawless round from Penta, and they are at match point after being down the first 2 rounds. They have stormed back.
Yeah, 4 rounds in a row. And this is what we were talking about when we said that usually Penta wakes up in the latter half of the map. And
no kidding.
No kidding indeed. As they have put themselves in a great spot now. They are going to be defending Lobby, which was a pretty definitive win last time they came here. ENCE came from below and tried to push upstairs via the spiral and yellow stairs. They were shut down swiftly from Fabian on the yellow stairs upper. So, what will ENCE do this time? Are they going to try the same thing that didn't work? I doubt it. And hopefully they have at least some deviation that will lend them a better position in this round. It's really not it's not easy to attack a lobby, to be honest, because it's not a thing you can practice nearly as much. And usually teams. So if you go into a scrim, right, it's not like you're going to tell the other team, hey, defend this place, because you want to see what the other team can do best inside of a scrim. And most teams will choose the top floor and the bottom floor of Consulate, even though the middle floor is just as easily defendable. Which means in your average scrim, on Consulate, you won't get much practice for that middle floor attack. So, because of that, with Penta going here, ENCE probably doesn't have nearly as much strat variation that they're used to having on every other bomb site, and this is likely to spell map number 2 with this defense.
This is one of the good locations as well for Elysian. Let's focus on that for just a moment. An operator that seems to have more play on where the choke points are. You can see that Eunice is going to be in a position to throw down a number of goo mines, but there's a drone right on him as well, so they know that there's somebody inside of Visa, as Panari's drone is perfectly camouflaged. Camouflage is staring right at him as he sits on candid camera, and now Kanto knows where he is too.
Yeah, Junis just going to go prone here and save his life. Unfortunately, Kanto can't get the angle without repelling. I think Junis is actually expecting this. He will fall off of the angle, and that's the smart play, certainly. The mark's coming a little too late, and Kanto Raketti unable to secure that kill, but that's definitely a win for Penta, even though nobody got a kill in that situation. Wasting the time of Kanto and all of the people droning Junis. Now we only have 2 minutes to execute an attack, which is, again, seemingly, I don't know, still up in the air. ENCE doesn't have a determined way to attack this strategy yet.
No, and there you can see they're stalling out on time here at the moment. Nothing has really started upstairs, which, like I said, is where I would begin, is you try to flush out Pengu up top and get him down, because you know he is going to be a very important part of any push you get in, because the moment you take that site, you can see that Pengu will have some great cover. Junis is going to go down, and Pengu's going to look to try to reset him as he throws some smoke as a way of choking off the push. But Panari will rush right through, and he's going to hit some razor wire. Is he going to be able to get around this corner? Panari, no! He gets torn to pieces by Junis, and now Kanto is up next. He comes around the corner and another kill as Goga is able to take him down, and Penta is only 3 frags away from making this match over. Make that 2 as KS gets in on the frenzy, and Shate perishes. Only Wilkie and Boonsy left. This is, I think, the 3rd time that both of those operators have been the last 2 remaining. And KS is going to lose a portion of his health as we hit the final minute mark. Wilkie getting shot at from the spiral stairs of Goga, and now inside Boonsy will go. Tries to take battle with Fabian, can't do it, and he will slowly work his way towards the barricaded wall, but Fabian will get the last laugh as Goga jumps in too. So just Wilkie left, and it is 1v5. This would be the 3rd flawless round if Penta prevails, and even if one goes down, it's a very tall task for Wilkie to close it out.
Right, you are 30 seconds, tick-tock. Wilkie aggressing into the middle of Spiral. He will be challenging the main lobby. KS is going to put some shots down, and Fabian from the yellow stairwell, or yellow hallway, will finish off this map. Putting it at a 5-2 in favor of Penta, moving us on to Bank ENCE's map pick. So, 5 rounds in a row and 3 flawless in a row. That's insane from Penta.
It was a tremendous showing, and ENCE looked like, while they came off with a strong start, they just couldn't find their footing at that point onwards. And take a look at, once again, ENCE, Kanto and Shate doing an excellent job to hold their team together, but the rest of them will need to find some life and drink from that fountain of youth for round number 2, or map number 2 rather, on Bank.
So let's talk about what happened there for ENCE. Why was that such a one-sided attack loss there? And why did Penta come out on top? Because last time ENCE attacked the main lobby, they came from downstairs, which means they got to see and feel the downstairs defense. They got to understand what they were going up against, and they got to kind of feel it out, right? But that also meant, because of the swiftness of their defeat, they did not get to see what was going on upstairs. So now rotating upstairs, they didn't have a lot of information. And even more importantly, they didn't gather much information before actually making their push. They spent a lot of time droning out the middle floor, especially, let's talk about that Junis inside of Visa. While, yes, he was exposed, they didn't secure the kill, and more importantly, they wasted 3 drones, I believe, on him, and that's a lot of time and manpower. as well as just a fourth person on the window in Cantor Raketti. So all of the focus from ENCE being placed downstairs or in the middle floor while attacking the top floor resulted in them not knowing what they're getting themselves into and simply losing the fights because Penta has a great setup to address any possible pushes.
Fabian just right there showed how powerful that
Jeez.
51 round magazine is on Elez. He was able to just hold down, and that bullet hose doing a ton of work, getting that double kill. And it's tough to show the exact gravity of the matchup because yes, 3 flawless rounds of the 5 that you won means that of those 5 rounds you won, only a handful of your team actually went down at some point, and that is, of course, a significant problem for your opponents. And we'll get ready to load into Bank in just a moment, but we head there now. In a lot of ways, share some similarities with Consulate.
Yeah.
How do you think this is going to shape up? This is ENCE's matchup. What are they going to need to tighten up? I mean, other than the fact that they weren't prepared for the fact that Penta would take them to a site that a lot of teams wouldn't, what are we looking forward to in this match?
I would say that ENCE is going to have some pretty innovative strats here, but they're going to also have to stick to the norm. I don't really see ENCE going to the top floor and being successful, for example. We've seen it a couple times in the European region and more in the Latin American region, whereby a team will go to that top floor and try to force out a defense because it's different. I just think ENCE need to stick to their guns, refine the basics, and hold down on the bottom floor. As we load into the map, it's going to be Penta starting on attack and starting on defense, and it will be a Locker CCTV hold. I think that's absolutely the right call here from ENCE. They just need to refine out the very basics, as that's the only time we've seen teams actually come close to beating Penta.
Yeah, I mean, you can't try now to deviate from what you know. If you find yourself down 4-0, 4-1, 4-2, then yeah, maybe throw a wrench in the plans of the other team and go for something a bit unusual, because that's the time for you to take the chance, not at the start.
See, I've always talked about this in the past with Penta. Their greatest strength is the fact that when somebody throws a wrench into their plans, so to speak, it doesn't work. And they're the only team I've ever seen where consistently that is the case. Seriously, the only team in Pro League. And I don't think and I think because of that, ENCE just, again, they need to stick to their basics. They need to hold strong to the basic strategy, because there's only so many ways that Penta can counter-strat anything. And if you're relying on the abnormality of a defense or an attack to give you an advantage, I think against a team like Penta that is just not going to work.
And we'll see how they are able to adapt to a pretty basic strategy that we have so far, though I am impressed with the amount of Capkins that we've seen from both teams. We saw them a bit in Latin America as well. So
impressed with?
I would say impressed.
Yeah? You think that he's made a resurgence as an operator? And
I think they're going to try to figure him out.
Right.
I think you could potentially see, we've even seen Ying has fallen off in popularity recently, largely because of the map choices, but also because I think some of the people who said she might be a bit forced is correct. I think she has a place and she will be a niche operator,
Agreed.
but not required in every single setup.
Kind of like when you would bring a Capitao, now you might bring a Ying instead.
Or both at the same time.
Or both at the same time. Judas going to get the first kill of the round onto Pennari. That was inside of the garage. Very aggressive play into garage early on will actually result in his death, though. Shate getting the refrag, and that's oh so important. You could see there what Pennari was trying to do, though. His strategy was to simply, or excuse me, Junis was trying to do there. His strategy was to simply open up the main wall that faces into Red Hallway. If he can establish that control, then it will deny any serious ways for the anchors to hold a push from server into A. But because he was not successful, as he was by himself and there was no refrag potential, it is going to be a good chance still for ENCE to hold out a server push. Now, as time ticks away, Penta has effectively forced all of the roamers downstairs because, well, there were no roamers, at least I don't think so, in the first place, which means the control is well in hand of the attackers. All they have to do is focus on opening up the drop downs, which they can't do. They can't open many of because of the lack of a Hibana and only having Goga and Thermite. Once they have those drop downs open, it'll probably be a shift of focus over to the server. Once they have control over server, a likely push in to simply plant behind the A-bomb, as is pretty typical.
And they'll sledge their way in towards that Skylight Stairwell lobby, so to speak, and will now begin their droning. They have gotten one of those hatches open. You can see Pengu is poised to go down. A good C4 as Shate picks up kill number 2 on the KS. And is that a suppressed SMG I see? It sure looks like it. He's going to go for a 30, gets it. Shate onto Fabian as Kanto picks off Pengu. and a repeat of Consulate, as we likely will see Penta lose the first round, though never count out Goga. He does hold the diffuser and has 30 seconds to make his way down through security and into CCTV, but it's going to be very difficult. He'll start in servers, and Kanto quick peeks around the corner. Down goes Goga, and ends a great round, only loses one in the process.
And look who's showing up for ENCE. Shate and Kanto Raketti yet again. So map number 2 now, and there's still very much potential for Boonsi, Pennari, and Wilkie to all start showing up on their own in terms of just pure frag potential. Now, something to remember is that Boonsi, Pennari, and Wilkie are technically the support players for ENCE. They put in a lot of work that maybe isn't always seen and reflected on the scoreboard, and you have to give them credit for all of the rounds won. But if they start putting down frags, this could be a dominant ENCE at least early match. Now again, Penta is known for the latter half of the match, so we'll see what happens.
A slow starters in a team that finds its footing later on, and now they go to defense. And see, they're going to go downstairs, so nothing abnormal. They're not going to try for a first floor or even a second floor defense. They will use the basement to their advantage. And Valkyrie getting a lot of play so far today, too. And that's wonderful. Has been replacing Jaeger. I haven't seen a lot of Jaeger so far as well.
I mean, if you're having Ying falling out of the meta, do you really need a Jaeger as much?
But you got Buck and Sledge that have been played in
right, and there's
awful lot.
There's 2 sets of nades as well in this case on ENCE's lineup. So, you know, the Jaegers can help you out a lot in denying those kills. But I mean, it's, you know, it's weights and balances. And I think that if you're going to want to really force out, in this case, I would say the force thing isn't even necessarily the Valkyrie. It's more the Legion.
That's
but
fair.
If you're going to try and force out a Legion, then you obviously have a specific goal in mind. I've talked to a lot of pros about how Legion is played and how it should be played in. And pretty much it comes down to this. Legion is most effective when you're forcing, like you're denying like a staircase or a lane or something just as a solo operator, because he can really stall up the push.
Absolutely. Pengu's going to have first contact here. He pops up, and Shate goes down, but doesn't finish him off. And a Toxic Babe will go off, and it will get him, and that'll force Boonsi to have to retreat as well. A very early encounter will cost the Sledge his life of ENCE. And Pengu doing an excellent job inside of servers. That's a very aggressive play for a Smoke to be, and a potential to lose a Smoke this early on could be catastrophic.
Yeah, but because he had that aggressive play, he's going to basically get rid of about half of the defenders, or excuse me, the attackers' frag potential, at least from what we've seen so far from ENCE. So this is the round where Pennari, Wilkie, and Boonsi really need to start stepping up and bringing those kills for their team. Now, the Echo, interestingly, has actually a shotgun. Fabian going to opt for the shotgun rather than the MP5. Usually the reason you would see, a lot of the reason you would see Echo played is because of the addition of that ACOG. Fabian just clearly wanting to use the Yokai drone to help his teammates out with that roaming.
One thing that we've actually seen it a surprising amount. Kanto just misses the Yokai and tries to get away, gets hit twice, and will now unsuccessfully take out the gadget of the Echo. Now, one thing too is that with Echo, he's inhabiting a role very similar to Smoke. Smoke almost always ran with his shotgun instead of his SMG, and I think we're going to see the same thing or a similar thing from Echo. KS goes down, and that's the Ela. So they've managed to pick off one roamer, but they only have a minute left to really start getting towards that site and pressuring the folks in Penta. They've opened up that hatch inside of Skylight Stairwell. Goga is poised and ready to potentially strike. In open area, looking to be the anti-flank to the flankers of ENCE. And Wilkie will survey just below, and he can't see anything. So Goga's ready to strike, 45 seconds. They'll hit at that barbed wire. And now Goga could push up and get a really good opportunity on White Stairs. He will be spotted by Pennari, and Pennari wins that gunfight quite easily, though he does sustain some significant damage. The smoke will go up. They find the Valk cam, but only 30 seconds. They'll need to try to open that up. That's a great strategy from Penta, denying them the opportunity to open that. That is cheeky and will funnel them through an area that I have no doubt is packed with Legion traps.
Ooh, Kanto with an aggressive push in, 13 seconds left to go. He's got to find the guy by elevators. He doesn't. Fabian gets a kill. Pengu another onto Boonsi, and now a 2-on-3 as Penta starts to lock out this round. They will finish things up here as Wilkie does not have enough time to get 2 kills.
No, and he pays for it. Eunice gets the final kill. Penta ties it up. And can we talk for a second about that strategy on the wall?
I mean, we've seen that a couple times, but rarely have we seen those holes made so structured, perfectly, crisply structured, where there's no question that, of course, they are going to deny a Thermite the potential to plant the charge. That was obviously a calculated move by Penta, and they actually took their time to figure out exactly how to rightly set up that wall. We've seen a couple teams, again, do that in the past, but usually what it'll be is just a cobbled mess. Well, they'll stand really far away from the wall with a shotgun and open up a bunch of tiny little holes, and it won't necessarily work all the time. Usually there's still like a small sliver where Thermite can place the charge, but clearly Penta actually went into a custom map and practiced opening up that wall perfectly to outright deny Thermite any potential.
It was precise.
Very precise.
And that sort of precision helped them because they still had the opportunity to see through it. And almost it was kind of like a lattice wall. So you could see, or a trellised wall, you could see through those holes in it and have perfect visibility. However, at the same time, they couldn't do much other than return fire. And when you are looking at that bomb site insecurity, of course, you're often going to be shooting at somebody inside of that red hallway or in Vault or the area just in front of Vault, or if they've got double holes all the way back into B in lockers. And that's very difficult for the attackers to make those shots. And we saw Penta take full advantage of it.
Right, you are. Now, as ENCE sets up to defend, since they were successful on the basement, similar to Penta, they will be going to the Archives and Tellers. So again, none of that massive deviation. I'm really happy to see this from ENCE. I think, again, sticking to your guns in this situation is probably the right way to go. You do have a Cap Cannon. He will be likely roaming upstairs with Cantor Raketti, going to try and disrupt the roam game. Or wow, a nice shot there from Fabian is going to light up Kanto. That's going to put him on a very little HP, and as a 3-speed, that means even more. But yes, the roam game coming out here from ENCE, I do like the idea here. Oh, wow, Junis doesn't know how close he was. He will get hit by the Kapkan track. That's going to take off 60 HP and put Wilkie in an advantageous position to win this engagement should he enter into it. The mark coming from the drones is going to force him to, what is he rotating? No, wait, what just happened? Wilkie going to attempt to reinforce the wall facing lobby, and a swift drone from Goga is going to communicate to Junis, hey, shoot here, get a kill.
You know why that was? I believe he assumed that Fabian was the one who was getting the mark, when in all reality they had two operators there to poised to pounce on it. Pengu will run in and get a kill before he gets blown to pieces by Panari, but still an advantage in favor of Penta at the moment.
Yeah, and the C4 it's good that you can get that indirect kill at least, and it seems like ENCE might be able to come back on this round, but Penta's looking very fierce so far, and I think a lot of it is attributed to the simple lack of focus on the east side of, or excuse me, the east side of the building. The attackers are allowed too far in. Panari going to get a kill onto KS, though. That is the second kill for Panari in this round, I believe.
Yeah, he took the Nitro cell for Bandit, which is something
C4Y.
that's a little odd, but that's okay. He managed to get 2 kills with it so far, and now take a look.
2 Kapkan traps for Wilkie have been detonated onto the attacker so far in this round, and there you can see the new operator that has seen a lot of play in all regions, showing great face here and use.
Now we hit the final minute mark, all tied up, but still strongly in favor of Penta. What a shot from Shate as Eunice falls, and you can see Panari's going to go for his third. He manages to take all but a tiny portion of Fabian's health off, but that Glaz is going to be formidable no matter what his health is at. Panari wins the fight, and that's his third kill, but he won't get the ace as Shate is on the board for ENCE. That leaves just Goga, as you can see Penta is going to pin their hopes on the Thermite with his diffuser just inside of the lobby, looking to push inside. Kanto comes around the corner. Goga wins that fight, expects Panari, and that's a good double kill from him. 2 members down will put us at a 1v1 against the Jaeger of Shate. He's got 25 seconds and can get that plant off, but with the drone still left, he sees him and will now look to push in. Shate will move, and Goga gets ready. Goga with a nice 3K to clutch the round for Penta. That's why you don't write that story early. And Penta somehow snatches victory from the jaws of defeat.
An absolutely amazing clutch there from the Fragmite of Goga. Knowing where the pushes are going to be coming from on the end side of things and just preparing himself for it, pre-aiming on those angles, and not getting lucky, just having good reads. That is some great, I'm guessing teamwork as well from the rest of the guys on Penta. Despite being dead, there were probably quite a lot of drones in position to make call-outs for him in that situation, and that is just overall Penta coming out on top when they really shouldn't, and I think the lead is going to shift. Well, it already has, but I think it's going to continue to shift in favor of Penta, similar to how we saw Consulate, but much earlier on.
Just a bit of banter between those teams, of course, giving a bit of recognition to the Kapkan traps and the fact that you can just try to run through with a little bit of reckless abandon. And if Pengu's correct, that was 4 Kapkan traps detonated.
Jeez.
If he is
quite a lot.
correct.
I mean, and despite that, they still managed to win the round. Penta still managed to come out on top, having lost quite a lot of HP to just Kapkan traps. But I mean, yeah, no. On the note of that, all these teams, Penta and ENCE, they're friends. They like each other. They appreciate each other for their skills and their strengths, and it's great to see that banter between these two squads. Now, what are we seeing here in Taro? Is that a top floor hold that I see?
It sure is. And you see, Penta has done this before a number of times, and if you remember, 2 weeks ago, we had numerous rehosts because they were trying to run a specific strategy up top, which they abandoned because of the fact that they had to give the strategy away. But now, I would imagine that they're able to execute it this time. Some things that interest me, though. Pengu is playing the Doc, Fabian on Smoke, and you've got Eunice running the Legion. Last time around, it was Pengu on Smoke and Fabian on the Legion.
Penta's known for rotating their operators a little bit, and it's great to see them do that. One thing that interested me is the lack of reinforced barricades on the main reception of the top floor, over by where you would normally see shots coming in from the top of garage on those windows that there are a plenty of. On the other side, Marcio, a little bit further west. There you go. Those windows that are left unreinforced. Because those are unreinforced, if somebody gets on top of garage, they can open up the door into the B bomb site and easily apply a lot of pressure to the defenders inside the site.
But just like when they played, I believe it was Snook and Nose, nobody went garage that time. And once again, it will be largely a back alley push towards the back of the office instead of going through the main lobby.
And they have almost all of Penta's resources focused on this push that is coming from ENCE. So this is likely to spell disaster for ENCE unless they have some amazing, just really... I mean, they'd have to get really lucky. Pengu gonna get the first kill of the round onto Boonsy. That's the Thermite gone. A lot of your hard breach potential just evaporated simply like that. And as a result, it's going to put the defenders at an advantage that I think, based upon the way that ENCE is trying to handle this, is just even more emphasized.
And Shate walking within the danger zone of Eunice, who is poised to strike on those stairs, but isn't going to get much as Shate backs off and will now opt to go through Tellers instead. And yes, losing your Thermite is incredibly detrimental at this point. Shate pushes up and Goga is there waiting for him, and that is 2 down for ENCE at the moment. But Panari doing his best to keep his team's hopes alive as down goes the Doc. Goodbye, Pengu, and that's still an advantage in favor of Penta at the moment. All they have lost is that ACOG and potential reviving power of the Doctor.
Yeah, and as Wilkie challenges the B doorway, he's going to see KS not go for the not try to skip over the opportunity and just wait for the perfect shot. He will finish off KS, evening out the score, or evening out the man count, but there's still a lot of work to be done, and ENCE is pretty spread out here.
Eunice inside a conference room waiting, 30 seconds left. He looks up just as Panari crosses the doorway. That is unfortunate luck. But Fabian does see Panari, and that will push him. Instead of going back, he moves forwards. You can hear the Gumine gets it off. That's 2 in a row, and now Panari is going to be in a really tough shape. They finish him off as they close in. Fabian takes him down, and now the plant's set to go off as Kanto working behind that big executive desk. He'll get shot at from Wilkie as Eunice manages to go away, but in walks Eunice. He gets the kill. Diffuser is down, but there's only one left, and that is both members of ENCE going down in a hail of gunfire. Eunice a great double kill, and 3-1 as Penta takes round number 4.
You can see there Penta maneuvering all about, not trying to get pinned down by the ENCE push, which was clearly the intention of ENCE. They were trying to sandwich the hold inside of CEO, but lo and behold, Penta is holding from outside of CEO, going for retakes. That's it. And it's awesome to see a retake strat showing its face on CEO. I've never seen that before. Usually you'll see a big emphasis placed by the defenders in the actual bomb site, but no, this was just inside of meeting hall, inside of storage, and over by the main stairs.
Really well done, and I like that the defense, the way they pushed was they basically conceded that entire skylight stairwell to ENCE to let them push in. You saw that their positions were in tellers on that main stairwell and inside of the executive lounge.
Well, I mean, you have to concede the skylight stairs. There's no way to really force out that hold. But at the same time, it does afford a lot of the beachhead to ENCE. But that was clearly that was the trap that Penta was trying to put them into, and it's great to see that. It's great to see for Penta. It's unfortunately disheartening to see for ENCE that they fell into the commonplace attack strategy. I would have liked to see ENCE try to come from a main lobby attack, put somebody on top of Garage, apply pressure from the west side of the building, and because there were so many opportunities for that. We even saw the IQ once IQ pushed his way into main reception, had lots of opportunities to get kills, finished off KS, for example. I mean, there were opportunities abound, but they just were not putting enough, ENCE was not putting enough focus on that side of the map.
No, and they paid for it. And now Penta has proven that even though this is ENCE's matchup,
oh, no.
what a good straight of affairs here. I cannot believe what just happened as ENCE gets a little cheeky and runs outside.
I think that was Kanto.
It sure looked like him. Managed to not take any damage whatsoever. It doesn't actually look like they traded many bullets at all. Only Pengu is the one who might be a little bit below maximum health, which indeed he is.
Right, so Penta now going to be looking to clear the top floors, forcing those roamers down, especially considering they're conscious of the fact that Kanta Raketti was roaming inside of stock. The Mark's going to verify that he has pushed all the way back down into the bomb site, and I think that's the smart play. KS on top of KS playing Jackal is going to help clearing these roamers quite a lot. As Junis starts to open up the drop downs, though, Shate doesn't have any way to directly inflict any casualties onto Penta, but he can get one of the Habaran charges, and that's extremely good.
And it does look like they're going to be able to make some progress into opening up those hatches. They'll try again from above as Eunice upstairs just outside of stock, and this time they'll be able to get it. But they do have the one hatch inside of that office, and will now have 2 lanes to get down. But unfortunately, one set of X-Kairos will have been essentially wasted. Now, as for Penta, they are starting to push down those main stairs. Plenty of tracks for, I believe that's KS, to be able to identify. Looking for a Valkyrie camera that is often positioned in there. Shate has taken some damage, especially from a Twitch drone, and sits at roughly half of his health just bound by the bottom of the elevator, by the opening to that vault. And he'll wait for the rest of Penta to get there to try to flush him out.
So you can see it's, again, a very typical attack strategy coming from Penta. They're going to take control of the top 2 floors, force the roamers downstairs, open up the drop downs, and then come into server, open up the wall into A, and go for a very simple default plant spot plant while they cover from the drops. Now, Wilkie is going to be one of the linchpins of the defense for ENCE in this circumstance. He's going to be the one who has to basically deny all pressure onto server, along with, I believe, Kanto is also in a position to support him. But with this heartbeat detector sensor, he's going to be able to make calls for his teammate, specifically Kanto, who will get an aggressive push onto Pengu, eliminating the sledge of Penta, before getting another shot onto Junis and establishing a solid 2-man advantage in favor of ENCE. That was some great play there from Kanta Raketti, and that's really what you can expect to see from him most of the time. Not sure what happened there. C4 going to be missing for Shate, a little bit of a hiccup, and Fabian will get the kill. Kanto with another kill onto KS. That's 3 for him in this round with only 15 seconds left to go. Gogo and Fabian have to make the push happen. Fabian going to get a kill onto Kanto. That's shutting down the potential for an ace. Gogo going to get Boonsey, and he does have control of the bomb site. He's not going to go for the plant, though. He will be eliminated by Wilkie, and Fabian left alone in a 1 versus 1. Pinari, all he has to do is wait. 0-0-0 on the clock, and defenders are going to win the round by default.
Incredible how close that was. It actually looked like Fabian was going to be able to stick the landing on the plant, but gave up at the last second. At least that's what the assumption would be, and ENCE held on. Now, it was unfortunate because when Fabian ran in there, just below that Mira or just below the Mira itself, lay Mira herself, and if he had have seen that, could have potentially gotten the kill and just won simply on body count at that point. But ENCE will live to see another day, and we are not anywhere near as close to match point as we could have been.
Absolutely. Definitely seeing ENCE putting up a lot more of a fight, especially in the later end of this map. Again, we talked about this. Usually Penta starts to streak away at the end, but no, ENCE just not letting it happen this time. I would like to say, however, that last round was way too close. It should not have been a 1v1 relying simply on time to win the round for ENCE. It should have been a very clear-cut win for ENCE because of that dominance that Kanta Raketti was putting out early in the round. He got a 3K. And then somehow the last 2 members from Penta, Goga and I believe Fabian, thank you, Goga and Fabian, managing to get 4 kills between them.
It was a heck of a performance, and that really speaks to some of these teams, is that what separates the good from the best is your ability to pick up the slack. Now you can take a look. If we could just go back to what looked like it was the smoke of
Fabian,
Pengu,
maybe?
Or it could have been Fabian downstairs, onto what they were doing with the wall, just to give us a look.
Yeah, there it was. Yeah, it was Fabian.
And it is Fabian, and they've done the exact same strategy again. You can see it
I 100% guarantee you this will be mimicked by a lot of people, not just in ranked, but also in Pro League. I mean, we've seen this strategy already a couple times in Pro League, but the calculated way in which Fabian is laying out those holes ensures that the wooden poles, the supports of the wall, stay intact. And because they stay intact, because those studs manage to stay upright, that is going to result in the wall still denying Thermite the plant.
And now you can wonder why he has that shotgun, the Supernova of Echo. There's your reason. Pennari takes down Eunice as Kanto's lost some health as well, but that is the Lesion down. And of course, when a Lesion perishes so early on, that means you're only going to get 1 or 2 of his traps at most, as of course they are timed. And the longer a round goes on, the more opportunity he has to throw them about as much as he would like. Kanto will get reset and picked back up by the Hibana of his own team, and Pennari will give him the safe touch to come back to life.
Right, you are. Now, as ENCE clears the top floor, again, they will be bringing the Jackal. I think Jackal, a bit of a staple for Bank on attack. You really have to have that excess of roam clear. He's also great with the secondary shotgun opening of the drop down, but KS doing a lot of what we were seeing Kanto do. Now on to Pennari. This round will be having a pretty successful roam game, just standing inside of the elevator hallway, waiting for the challenge to come out from the ENCE attackers from above.
And I don't know if that was intentional or not, but a very smart move there was because KS didn't actually enter the room, there were no hot footprints for the Jackal of Kanto to be able to pick up on. So because of that, he doesn't know where KS is, as KS gets a second kill, and now Goga's going to get away with one before immediately being taken down by Kanto. He'll get hit by the Elamine, and you can see that KS has next to no life. He sees the drone. He's going to leave it looks like. I don't know why, but he'll sit just outside of it, and hopefully they won't know where he is.
Yeah, they are going to find out where he is, though, thanks to the Jackal mark. Eventually, we did have KantoRocketty get in aggressive enough a position to be able to see those footprints, despite the great tiptoeing from KS. And now it's still a 2-on-3, however, and the attackers in ENCE are going to be very pressured to win this fight as Pengu gets the first kill of this 2-on-3 onto Shate. It's all down to KantoRocketty, the Jackal, who was just supposed to be the roam hold. He's going to hopefully finally get KS with a nice headshot, challenging onto that elevator hallway. And he's going to have to challenge Fabian next. Shotgun at this angle, it's unlikely to happen for Kanto.
Just waiting.
Just tick-tock goes the clock, and as Kanto challenges the main door, he will run on in, get eliminated by Pengu, and that's all she wrote. Penta now 4-2 match point on the second map of this series after winning 5-2 on the previous.
And a great defensive hold when ENCE picked Bank as a map. I'm not certain if they expected 2 of those rounds. I think you can attribute a large part of their success to that unconventional strategy in the wall, which, yes, we have seen a couple times, but not, like I said, with that precision that we're used to. So
yeah,
very quickly, we are now on match point. 4-2 in favor of Penta. They will be on attack, even though they have looked better on defense so far. So we'll see how successful they are. Both wins from ENCE have come on defense.
Right, and hopefully they can get another win here and push it into 4-3. I would like to see map number 3. How about you?
I would like to see what they can do on Border. These are teams that, especially Penta, has done a great job of using the destructibility of their environment to their advantage, which is something that we don't always necessarily see. You know, a lot of teams will throw your usual rotation holes. A lot of teams will be able to open up a wall to give you a line of sight. But you don't often see smart plays designed to prevent people from getting plants off or that sort of thing. At least not in this season. One
thing I'd like to emphasize is that for ENCE, for the most part, they are having many more of their players coming into the match and actually having a presence. It's not just Shate and KantoRocketty anymore on this map, and I think that's going to aid them a lot more moving forward. Still one person yet to wake up for ENCE, but that just means when he wakes up eventually, hopefully ENCE will go Super Saiyan. We'll see exactly what happens, though, as Shate gets the first kill of the round onto Junis. Spawn peeking outside.
He's going to look for a second as KS is now up top as well, but he'll have given his position away. And ACOG versus a Hollow, and smartly Shate will peel out of there, but you have taken out their Hibana. Now, because as a region, EU likes to run those double hard breachers, there is still a Thermite, but you're not going to get as much out of Goga as you would out of Eunice's X-Kairos. Of course, still have an option to at least get through those impassable walls for every other operator. Now, inside a staff room, you can see them circling, and they'll look to retreat as Penta. I'm sure their push will now be slowed as they are down one of their most important members.
Right, and you can see garage pressure coming out from Penta here, despite it not even being a top floor hold. They just want to be able to efficiently streamline the clear of the top floor without bringing a Jackal. And putting Fabian on the top of garage is an effective way to do that. However, Wilkie from below, waiting for the drop down to be opened up. He doesn't know that that opportunity is right in front of him. He's just waiting for the opportunity to C4 someone once the drop actually opens itself. Unfortunately, he's not playing Pulse. And I don't know if the Kapkan traps are worth it, considering that Penta is now very diligently clearing all these doorways and have, in fact, brought an IQ in directly, I think, to counter the Kapkans. Right. So maybe not the best operator from Wilkie in this situation. Pulse could have done better. A lot of other things could have been better. But Tengu going to get a kill onto Panari, and that's going to even things out.
You can see there the frustration of Chaos trying to get that bandit charge through the floor. Will manage to do so as we encroach upon the 1 minute mark. And now just a bit of opening up Fabian will do from above as some precision, if I can use that word again, from Chaos, getting all of the gadgets from below. Just a bit of stat padding there for him, at least on his score.
Some very effective and efficient use of the IQ.
And you can see Shate's knee will give him away. He used to be whole until he took a glass shot to the knee, and down goes Shate. Fabian will get that kill and put an advantage in favor of Penta, who, of course, being on match point, this could be nearing the end of this matchup between the two EU playoff teams. Kanto at Half-Life sitting on top of main stairs, just on the plateau or landing before heading down to the basement. You can see Bootsy is going to even things out, give us 3 apiece as KS goes down. That is the IQ off the board. But in the midst of that, Pengu gets a kill as well as the diffuser going down. A C4 will eliminate Goga, and that leaves just Wilkie, who goes down to Goga, and Penta will take first overall. Ents still going to the playoffs, but as your second seed.
An extremely clean main lobby attack coming out from Penta. Not a lot of pressure from Ents on the top floor, and even if there had been contention on the top floor, I don't even know if it would have been successful, to be honest. But as a result, Penta streamlined their way through there. They just kind of established control, moved over to the lobby, and made a very simple push while covering all their flanks, and that's all she wrote. That's really all it is.
It was a very quick matchup.
We did see Boonsy get a kill, though, at the end, so that is great to see.
Finally made his way onto the board after I'm sure was a slow starter of a day, and it's always frustrating as a player to find yourself in a circumstance where you just can't contribute to your team the way you want to, and you can wear that on your shoulders. But I think the one thing to take solace in is the fact that regardless of how you perform today, it really doesn't matter what your performance today is like. What's going to matter is how you perform in a couple weeks, and we'll see exactly how the other competitors performed as we look at our highlights.
Right, you are. We do have another match for you guys today, and it's a pretty exciting one. I, for one, am looking forward to seeing how Millennium plays. It is not going to be actually about anything in particular. It's just going to be seeding for the season as a whole. So it'll be deciding who is going to be finishing 3rd seed, who's going to be finishing 4th seed for this season.
And unfortunately, because EU no longer has that 3rd spot, but fortunately for us, because APAC now has one of those two, it means that for Snook and Nose and Millennium, no chance for them to go to playoffs. But like we said, this is important because it'll let you know what your seeding is for next season. And not on top of that, it's also the ability to have the bragging rights of saying, well, we finished 3rd. And I know for Snook and Nose, who still has not been picked up by an org just yet, a 3rd place would look very good on their resume.
Right.
When looking for prospective teams and organizations to sponsor them.
Absolutely. Snook and Nose definitely has a lot of potential as a team and is deserving of an org, so we'll see if they're able to get one maybe next season. But before then, of course, this match against Millennium. A lot to prove for both teams. It just comes down to posterity, though.
And also, let's talk about Millennium for a second. What a story that would be if they managed to get that 3rd spot, because originally Millennium was going to be facing relegations until a set of circumstances that was, I guess, outside of their knowledge, now thrust them back in, and they have a spot to compete for 3rd. So from going for potentially falling out of Pro League, or at least having to compete for your spot, to now a potential 3rd place finish would be an exceptional comeback for them. But before we see them compete, we are going to toss to a short break. So we will see you in a couple minutes. Penta and Ents just concluded with Penta taking a 2-0 lead, and they will take 1st place heading into LAN. We'll be back in just a couple. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Parker Interrobang Mackay, joined by Michael Kickstar Stockley, and we were indeed complimenting Meepy on what a wonderful player he is on Snookin' Knows, if in case the microphones were on or you saw us. So, Meepy, if you're watching this, we will give you praise throughout the game, but we also just wanted to get that out of the way as we were discussing the matchup in front of you, which happens to be Millennium versus Snookin' Knows.
And let's take a look at the rosters, starting with Millennium, seeing what their lineup's going to be. Steezy, Livin, Yogurt, Swinshiro, and Aries is going to be the Millennium lineup. Now, to talk about this team, they are a very solid team, but how did they actually get here? Well, they were brought in because of another team getting disqualified and the spot being opened up because of them being previously eliminated in the season. But since then, they had actually a really good season. They made it into the playoffs, and now here they are, not making it to land, sure, but still, I think, surprising a lot of people in the season.
And one of the casualties of course, of EU losing one of those spots. Now, we've said this many, many times, but there are always, of course, viewers who tune in who might not be as well updated as all the rest. Essentially, both North America and EU used to have 3 spots. Now that APAC is a region that we support in the Pro League, both North America and EU lost one of those spots, which is completely fair. However, because of this, no third-place team will be going through from EU. Last season, it was Millennium, and this season, they could be third seed again, but they will not be visiting us in Sao Paulo. Snookin' Knows is their opponent, and the 5 gentlemen who will be playing for them today, we will throw up on the screen for you here. And no changes whatsoever. Meepy, Secretly, Lackey, Snookin', and Renewals.
Yeah, and Snookin' Knows, again, this is a team, this is the second team in North America, or sorry, in Europe rather, that speaks English right there alongside Penta. They are very much multinational, and they have a lot to draw from in terms of experience, their history being very colorful, each player coming from a different region, not each player coming from like distinctly different region from another, but like very many different regions throughout Snookin'. Now, they are, again, looking for an org, but from their performance this season, I think they're deserving of one. They did manage to make it to the playoffs, and they're definitely a competitor in this match. I don't think either of the teams hold a strict advantage, so they could possibly win this match, put it in themselves at the 3rd seed out of the European Pro League, and secure a great spot.
It would be pretty profound for a team to finish 3rd overall in a region and do so competing the entire season with 0 sponsor or 0 organization.
It's impressive.
That's exceptionally impressive, and it's very likely that it could happen. And I think, honestly, my real opinion, though I don't want to spend too long dwelling on it, they've probably been approached by teams, but they haven't liked the offers they've gotten, and they're holding out for the true representation that they deserve, as they've now made at least the Final 4.
You know, way back at the beginning of the Pro League, it used to be a case that none of the teams were seeing real serious sponsorship, but since the Pro League has been growing significantly in the long time that it's been around, it's gotten to the point where every team competing in here has some, for the most part, has some serious like sponsorship and backing, and it's awesome to see these teams rewarded for their diligence and the work that they put in, especially in the earlier stages of the game. However, that said, let's take a look at the ban phase and see where these two teams are going to be going. Millennium banning first, Snookin' banning second. At the bottom, you can see the 9 maps in the map pool. Find out where they want to bring them.
Now, for me, the one thing that I've been most impressed on was how Snookin' Knows plays on Coastline. Let's look at their play on that map. Yeah. Secretly, as a whole, has done a impressive job on Coastline as a map by itself, and he's a man that can easily take over the matchup. For Millennium, who are now sporting a new logo for the 2nd week in a row, which, by the way, I think some people should be aware of. I dig it. I think it's a refinement of their old one. I will be surprised if Millennium does not ban Coastline at all.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's going to be a Coastline ban, certainly from Millennium, but Bank is going to be the start here. Snookin' Knows, again, yeah, they're one of those innovative teams. Not only just Coastline, but also like Skyscraper, for example. You really don't want to be bringing Snookin' Knows to the off maps, the abnormals, because of their proficiency in practicing on those. I would even guess that Snookin' Knows has probably put in a lot of work on, for example, Clubhouse, now that it's finding itself pushed a little bit more into the meta, but it finds itself in a spot where like teams will play it. They don't necessarily want to.
Right. I'm curious to see where we go. Predictions here. We didn't see an Oregon, we didn't see a Border, nor a Chalet. And honestly, it's been so long since we played Chalet, I kind of want to see it. Just from a pure spectator standpoint, I would like to see it.
We have the only French team that's made it to the top 4 in the European region playing here today.
They should go to the French map.
Which, you know, it really isn't, it is really abnormal. I think Chate or Fabian was talking about that in the interview, one of them, and they were like, yeah, no French team going to land this season. That does not normally happen. The French community is pretty big in the European region, and they're going to be a lot of them rooting for Millennium to win this now and put themselves at that third seed, you know, for the national pride, and it does mean a lot. So, yeah, it would be cool to see them go to Chalet. But
There's been a lot of French teams involved. You know, you've seen Ares, you've seen Millennium, Be Genius is a French team. We've seen Vitality as a primary French team as well.
I remember when we used to do mixed LAN events and we had Xbox and PC both way back, and it used to be the French Xbox teams and the French PC teams both rooting for each other,
Right.
despite being on totally separate platforms. And usually there's a disconnect there. The French community is so tightly knit that you've even seen a lot of those Xbox teams from when the conversion happened, when it just became PC, move over to PC, and teams like Supremacy, for example, who also had a pretty good
another
season.
French team, a very good season.
Yeah, they managed to make it pretty far. I think it was actually Millennium who ended up eliminating them.
Snook and Nose.
But
It's
Snook and
very,
Nose.
very close
Yeah.
that we saw 2 weeks ago. And
Thank you.
Chalet and Consulate are gone now as well. So, yeah, so that's 4 of the 8 European teams are primarily French. And Supremacy, Be Genius, Millennium, and Ares, and that's incredible. And of course, a number of French teams down in Challenger League as well, and ironically, they will be the ones to ban Chalet. Clubhouse goes to, which leaves us with Consulate, Cafe Dostoevsky, Oregon, and Skyscraper. I wouldn't be surprised if Skyscraper goes from Snook and Nose, but you said with them playing well on the off maps, they might forego that, and if they ban Consulate or Oregon, look at that. Coastline is still on the board.
I mean, I would say ban Cafe, and yeah, they're gonna ban Cafe. There goes Cafe. So now it is going to be Clubhouse is banned, so that's just a graphical error there. It's Coastline, Consulate, I believe.
Oregon, Skyscraper.
Coastline, Oregon, and Skyscraper. Thank you. Yeah, this ban phase was won by Snook and Nose. 100%.
I think they've got 2 maps that they play very well on right in front of them, and if I were them, I would be very happy with what we've seen unfold. I'm not going to be surprised if Coastline is their first pick, because if they don't pick Coastline, I'm imagining it'll probably be that Decider. It is one of their stronger maps, and not usually a map that teams are really well founded on with their strategies, but in this case, they've clearly practiced.
Yeah, Snook and Nose definitely knows all. That's funny. Snook and Nose definitely knows all the maps that they're going to be playing here in this series. They're going to be very comfortable. I mean, Oregon as the third map, the one that's not the abnormal that maybe they don't practice as much is a map that every team is familiar with. So Millennium, I think, going to be put in the back foot here with the ban phase, at least early on, and we'll see what they choose to go for as they are the first team to pick.
Stunningly, they pick Coastline,
Wow.
which surprises me. And now Snook and Nose, unless Millennium knows something we don't on this map, maybe they've practiced really hard. Now, Millennium has played well on Coastline, don't get me wrong, but I would wager that the team that has played the best in this region on this map is Snook and Nose. So, I mean, yes, you can be really good on it, but if you were, like we said yesterday or 2 days ago in the Latin America matchups, even if you were the second best at a map, if you were playing the best, do you take them there?
Right, and we're
Chances
about
are
to find
maybe not.
out like if Snookin is the best, and as they go to Oregon, so they're actually going to be the ones trying to pertain to the norm, and that's weird. I was expecting you to be complete opposite here. I was expecting to see Millennium take Oregon, and then Snook and Nose pick Coastline, and then Skyscraper still being the decider, but whatever the case, I mean, it is an interesting pick phase, that's for certain. I want to see what Millennium has to show us on Coastline. They have to have something pretty crazy.
We'll take a look at what you think the results of this matchup are going to be. Of course, in the top right-hand corner at ESL Rainbow Six, and this is the second closest we've ever seen. Snook and Nose at 52% to Millennium at 48%. That means that if you are correct, we will go the full distance here all the way to map number 3. So, with that said, it will be an exciting contest. We will load right into Coastline, and as you can see, Snook and Nose will start on defense, and Meepy Secretly Lackey renewals, and Snookin will be the folks to pin, I guess, their hopes and dreams on and claim that third place. Well, Millennium tries to stop them.
So we were actually, we talked about this earlier, is that I wholeheartedly expect this to be going to the third map. These two teams are so evenly matched, it's kind of ridiculous. And as Snook and Nose goes to Penthouse Theater, the most commonly defended bomb site on this map, that is no surprise. Millennium are going to be bringing a completely normal attack lineup except for the Capital, and that is interesting. I'm curious to see what he's going to be bringing to Millennium's side on this attack. However, we've seen some good use for him in the past. I mean, if you're coming onto Master Bedroom, usually the way the defenders will hold that is from Projector using Echo Drones and C4 and vertical pressure from below and similar things. If you bring a Capital, you can cut off Projector pretty single-handedly using his bolts, and then you can go for a bomb plant, or diffuser plant rather, anywhere inside of B.
And this is a site as well that one of the cool things that we saw about Snook and Nose last time was, if you remember, they blew open that entire floor just next to, in actual call it, right next to that circle couch. They blew out the entire floor and had Meepy playing beneath, and he could pick away at the next Kairos onto the wall leading into bedroom. As you can see, Marcio is homing in right now on it. Right there is where he had him playing last time, and just above, so he could stop where Snookin is sitting right now from those X-Kairos from going off and blowing open that wall. And it was a great play, and we might just see it again.
Right, you are. And now the holes that have been opened up in the far side of Master are going to be very telling of a roam game downstairs for the defenders. It's likely that Millennium will have to either focus a lot of their attention down there early in the round, or they will have to at least get an aggressive push into the main master bedroom early into the round. Either way, they've got to start applying pressure fast, because if they let it linger, the C4 from below from Meepy will likely be all that it takes to deny the round for the attackers outright.
And they'll have Meepy situated inside of that Sunrise bar rather than in the kitchen or surrounding area. And of course, he'll be able to get anybody on that terrace above looking to push inside a hookah, and the invisible gun of Ares doing work on that barricade.
Not a lot of time has pushed forward here. Millennium, nice camera there that they are going to be taking out. I don't think that Lackey was expecting that one to be found quite so easily, but the Twitch drone will be aware of it. Now, as Millennium progresses in this round, it looks like they're going for, again, the very typical VIP take. They're going to try and open up that A wall. They're going to try and deny any serious pressure coming from below. But the problem is that they're not applying that focus onto the roamers downstairs, and they're kind of skipping a step on this attack in that sense.
Renshiro hold up inside of that Hall of Fame, inside of the, I guess, the red hallway. Can't position himself on that window, which is where we usually see the Blackbeard do so much work. Has managed to take a portion of Snookin' Nose's health off. First kill, Yogurts comes in, and Snookin' goes down, and Lackey soon follows, as Millennium now gets 2, and add to that 3 as Renshiro finishes off secretly, and they're still going to wait. As you can see, Meepy has been able to get underneath, and Renewals 2 waiting. But Meepy gets finished out by Liven, and this is just a landslide at the moment as Yogurts is going to push in, and Renewals gets that kill, but Liven finishes him off, and Millennium looks fearsome after round number 1.
So Millennium, no focus placed on the roamers, but it didn't matter because they killed every single one of the anchors before they even contested the site directly, which is honestly staggering. And we'll see if they're able to recover, or we'll see if Snook and Nose is able to recover from that shocking and quick defeat. Now, the roamers downstairs were not actually influencing the round in a way that I would say is... it just kind of seemed like it was lackluster. They had the Pulse over by the bar, really over far by the Sunrise bar, and he wasn't doing very much. Meanwhile, we saw there the Ela inside of kitchen storage specific, or actually rather bathrooms, pardon me, not really doing a lot either because there was nobody pushing through the main door into B.
No, and I'm not exactly certain why Meepy was stationed under there unless he was expecting a run out, because with that heartbeat sensor, he was doing a good job of assessing who was on that terrace and pushing into hookah, but you could see there was nobody at all from Millennium, or sorry, from Snook and Nose that was ready to greet them inside of that push. Of course, they were all largely stacked up inside of projector room and the bedroom. For Millennium, I guess they are kind of showing us exactly why they would pick and opt to go for this site, because that was a commanding first performance. And now on defense, Europe has been taking an awful lot to Sunrise and Blue Bar. This is a site that we haven't seen North America play very much. In fact, well, Coastline hasn't really popped up much for North America at all. But if you look here, a lot of EU teams have been rolling with this first, and it's something that we saw Supremacy used a lot of as well, and Snook and Nose actually seemed to handle it quite well, and I'm curious to know if maybe Millennium is going to be able to hold it better.
I mean, it's not exactly a difficult hold. It's one of those ones that's, you have to be very calculated in the way that you set it up. Each and every hole you make is meaning, and you have to decide if it's rotation or just a murder hole. And it really just comes down to having a predetermined plan. Now, the problem with that is that Snook and Nose, as the attackers, if they can read this predetermined plan and they understand it well enough, it becomes a very easy situation for them to counter this hold. However, because of the slight abnormality, I would say, of the bomb site itself, it's likely that Snook Nose doesn't have as much experience with this hold as any other bomb site. It's the same thing we talked about with Consulate. The first floor, while easily defensible, isn't very commonly held, so you don't see a lot of practice there. Secretly gonna get a swift double kill onto Jagertz and Aries. That was an excellent shot there. He's also gonna dodge C4 burn below. Meanwhile, Snookin takes out Steezy, and this is the same sort of swiftness we saw from Millennium now in favor of Snook Nose. The attack is clearly favored in this map.
And a very small portion of health left on Secretly, but he still has 4 members of his team left upright. And we get very close to a flawless round if they can flush out Renshiro and Liven. They're just looking to try to get in. Renshiro is the only one on site. He's getting a lot of pressure from the Buck, who secretly isn't even playing the Buck. Renewals is, and that is a bit of an interesting change just because of the fact that we have seen so much work from Secretly be done on Buck, especially on this map. Now, Renshiro was waiting for the push in from Snookin, but is going to get under fire. Liven is going to dive in, and Meepy goes down. That'll be the first kill for the French team of Millennium, and now Renshiro looking to try to hold on, but wow, Lackey and Snookin, 2 quick bursts. Millennium falls, and these have been very, very convincing rounds both way around it so far.
The attackers seriously having a great idea of what they're doing here, and both teams being a little too aggressive, I think, on their actual anchors, peeking angles when they're holding on defense. Just instead of just waiting patiently for the push to come, or playing in situations where their position is exposed to an easily acquired angle from the attackers. It's kind of an interesting set of circumstances for both of these teams, and I wonder if we're going to see one of them start to get a little bit more hunkered down inside the actual bomb site in positions that cannot easily be attained by the attackers. I'm not sure. I mean, you can see here the standout performer so far, just 2 rounds in, is going to be LZP, but I mean, nobody else really making any significant outreaches. I would say for most part, it's just kind of a even split for each of these teams.
Liven has done a tremendous job of his team too. It's something that we saw before in the past where he can almost single-handedly keep his team in contention. Of course, doesn't really work all the time because, as has been said many times, bears repeating, this is very much a team game, and one individual performer not usually good enough to keep an entire team afloat. Now, as Snook Nose will go downstairs, no team successful on defense so far. The attackers have been in very formidable shape, but instead of opting to go upstairs, the Sunrise Blue Bar, which I think they just saw maybe not be the easiest to defend.
Yeah, but we'll see if Snook Nose can make good work of it. I mean, it makes sense that they're going to go to the Sunrise Blue Bar instead because their previous defense just did not work out for them. And now neither of these teams are wanting to go back to Master Projector just yet, and I think that makes a lot of sense too, because while it is, yes, the most defended bomb site, is also, hey, the most defended bomb site, which means, again, the practice is there. Now on a map like Coastline, you want to go for the most abnormal possible because the whole notion of the map itself is abnormality, and that is what is going to give you the most advantage. Now, you could see Millennium attempting to challenge from the south lobby. Now, this is a typical position to be aggressing on. The big thing, though, the reason that this is dangerous is because the defenders can most commonly just run out right above on the balcony and get a good flank off. We saw it last round, despite the loss of the defense. The Ela came out and flanked Meepy. Meepy was just a little too slow on the reaction and couldn't get the kill. Meanwhile, secretly going to be eliminated here by Jagertz, and it looks like the roam game is well within hand for Millennium. They have established control of that top floor. Renshiro going to lose one of his shields as he challenges onto B. Meanwhile, Jagertz a headshot onto Lackey, and it's looking great here for Millennium. Again, another attacker-centric round.
Good job from the Twitch. You can see the Blackbeard working away there, trying to get the bomb down, can't do it. Aries goes down to Meepy, and now Steezy waiting to try to get it. Jagertz, another kill. He's on fire so far this round as away Renewals goes, but he gets shredded. Snookin managed to pick up the kill and will now try to stop them from getting the plant down, but a second too late as that diffuser is successful, and now the flashes will go off. A tough task for Snookin' Nose to retake the site, as both Meepy and Snookin' sit at just a tiny portion of their HP. Meepy will crouch in, looks around the corner, gives himself away. Renshiro sees him, and using that shield, it's going to be very difficult for him to come up. Snookin's going to push out. He'll get one. Oh, and another. Meepy joins in, and Steezy goes down. Only Liven is left, and you can see them working away on that diffuser. He'll peek the corner. He'll get 1 and 2. Liven, a great finish to the round as Millennium hangs on.
2-1 in a continuation of the trend. The attacking team coming out on top. Unfortunately, that pulse looking just the wrong direction, and now round 4 is going to come in. Where will we see the defense go for Millennium? Are they going to try and force out the double bar again, or will they go somewhere else? It will be a double bar defense for Millennium. That is surprising, I would say. We saw Snookin' Nose trying to attempt a rotation. It almost worked out for them. Came closer than any other defense round so far, but it just wasn't enough. So if maybe Millennium starts going somewhere else, like, for example, Master Projector, will we see that same sort of pseudo-success?
That is, of course, the closest round on attack thus far, or on defense, rather. Eventually, at some point, I imagine these defensive holds will start to work, but it needs a bit of time for them to flesh it out entirely and be able to really get a feel of where it's going. Your scoreboard right now, Yogurt's had a great round there, but Liven stole the show at the end and is doing an impressive job. Both those members of the team, of course, big parts of why Millennium has been so competitive and at the moment finds themselves in the lead. Now, what differences should we be looking at on this site now? It looks like a similar strategy at the moment. They had the castle upstairs just outside of Aquarium, a rotate hole in the wall. What are you going to do to rebuff the push of Snookin' Nose? Because they basically just walked in completely unabated. There was no challenge, and they cleaned up last time around.
So what I would be doing here in this situation is investing a lot more in the top floor, but also making sure whoever's playing Anchor has a position whereby they aren't going to be exposed to the roam, like just any random attacker walking into an angle and saying, oh look, there's somebody not looking at me and I'm going to get a free kill. We've seen that a couple times from Millennium in their actual Anchors, just in the wrong position at the wrong time, getting caught off guard and losing their lives. So even if your roam game upstairs stays alive and denies the push and holds their ground, then it's not going to matter if the attackers can just walk in through South Lobby and get a plant. So there needs to be a little bit of teamwork, but I think that Millennium's got it well within hand. It looks like they're placing a lot of emphasis where it's necessary in this round, as they have Castle barricaded off Aqua to Billiards and are playing inside of Billiards with a great position. Renewals, though, first kill of the round onto Yogurts. That's going to be the one of the roamers gone, and again, the pressure from the south coming out here from S-Nose, this time to start us off upstairs. They will have also Billiards well within hand, but Billiards bar still maintains a hold on one of the defenders.
Great bout of information gathering from Liven at the moment as he sits inside of the office. He has the ability to look up to the balcony above and just waiting on Renshiro to get the go-ahead call, and down goes secretly as Lackey takes out the pulse of Liven, and still an advantage in favor of the attackers at the moment. Only 3 defenders remaining as we reach the halfway mark. You still have your castle, you still have your smoke, most importantly, and Ares is now going to even it out as down goes the buck. Those are the frag grenades off the board, and of course, that destructibility through the floor as Snookin' of his own team eliminates Steezy, and that now with the smoke off spells trouble.
So the attackers, top floor control. They also have somebody flanking from the lobby, but there's still the X factor in the roam game from, no roam game, just the anchors holding up inside of Sunrise Bar. They actually don't have much control at all. They're going to be in a position whereby they have to force themselves out of the B bomb site before they can really get any ground, and Lackey is going to cut off the rotation between B and A, and that is oh so important as he gets another kill onto Renshiro.
Ares, the last one left, sitting in that wonderful foliage in the hallway just by Sunrise Bar, and he's going to need to try to get up those cool vibe stairs. Meepy is up on a drone, but Meepy will get off. He sees Ares, and what a nice peek around the corner. Snookin' Nose takes that, and we are 2-2. The community vote so far looking to be quite prophetic, as both teams holding very even.
And it's entirely attacker-sided. So when are we going to start seeing the serious mix-up? Is Snookin' Nose going to take us to a 3rd bomb site, or are they going to go back to Master Projector? They will indeed. It is going to be the standardized bomb site here from S-Nose. Now, last time they went here, what happened? They had a roam game that ultimately did not influence the round in any way whatsoever, whereby the Pulse was already all the way over by Sunrise, gathering information but not getting any kills or denying any time. And then there was a Ella down in the bathroom of the first floor, and that Ella accomplished effectively nothing because the push did not come in directly from the trophy hallway. Then after that, you saw the attackers clear up all of the roamers inside of Projector without any serious contention, and it was a pretty clear-cut round from there.
And I'm surprised with how close it got. Now the fact that we are once again looking at the defense, just needing to find something that works. Really, it's going to be a situation where you're going to throw everything in the kitchen sink at it to try to fix something. Now, of course, a big focus of Snook and Nose's defense when they go upstairs is playing underneath. And for a team, usually what you'll see flush them out is either an aggressive Ashe or a Buck, because of course, a big portion of your attack on this site revolves around that Buck getting underneath, taking out any of the gadgets that they need to, and then putting pressure on them while you push in either through VIP, or Projector Room rather, or then through VIP into the bedroom. There is no Buck being run by Millennium, and I think that's going to put some pressure onto Liven, but last time around we didn't see Millennium use their Ashe in that manner. So that allowed Meepy to sit underneath and just wait. Of course, they did flush him out eventually, but it took them quite a while, and I think if Meepy goes down early on, that spells disaster for Snook and Nose here.
I mean, Meepy doesn't just need to not die early on, though. He needs to be able to influence the rounds somehow. He needs to get a kill. He needs to deny something. He needs to use a C4 in a meaningful way. I mean, he's got to accomplish something here over by Sunrise. And knowing Meepy, he's definitely got the potential to do it. But because Millennium is just avoiding him, unintentionally, of course, but they are straight up avoiding him, he is rendered useless in that position. So basically what needs to happen for Meepy is he needs to read this as, oh, there's no one pushing from Sunrise, and I need to go somewhere else. Yagert's going to get the first kill of the round onto Secretly. That is one of the roamers downstairs, and already it's looking pretty bad here for the defense yet again.
Was that a kill through the drone hole? It sure looks like it was shot at through the drone hole, but I can't exactly tell. It's tough now that we're many seconds removed. You can see Meepy doing Liven's job, but returning the favor as Snookin is going to be under fire and somehow manages to win that fight onto the Blackbeard. That is not supposed to happen at all. And one of the centerpieces of this similar attack that we are seeing unfold was having Renshiro post up at the Hall of Fame doorway and putting pressure onto those sites. He's gone now, so that will not be something that they are able to repeat because of a wonderful shot around that bomb by Snookin. That'll leave Yagertz to do most of the heavy lifting as he'll move towards the site and almost manages to get Snookin, but now he'll have to breathe in that toxic gas. He'll get around to the corner. Yagert's not holding on to the bomb. A great C4 from Meepy will finish him off, and now Liven trying to pressure the other FBI operator. Can't do it. Lackey takes out Aries, and the diffuser going down, but Lackey finishes up. We might see our first successful defensive hold here. It's just up to Liven, who falls as well, and Steezy down too. That's it. Defense wins. Snook and Nose finally breaks the streak, and the defenders get on the board.
Great job there to S-Nose, and a lot of it comes down to, again, Meepy finally realizing, all right, well, no Sunrise pressure. I'm going to go somewhere else, and doing a great job of denying the defuse plant earlier in the round with that C4. It did eventually go down, but it was still a collapse from S-Nose, and because Millennium had failed to get nearly as many anchor kills as they had the first time addressing that master projector hold, it was a pretty easy retake for S-Nose. Now, Blue Rise, Sunrise Bar going to be the defense again from Millennium. They haven't defended anything else yet, and it hasn't been working out so great for them.
No, not at all. And I don't know why they're going to go down here yet again, especially with how strong the attackers have been. But nonetheless, this is a... Oh, this is...
I don't know. I question this decision. I think that they should probably try to pick something else and open up their options here. You can see Liven and Yagertz are the two standouts for Millennium right now, putting in a lot of work for the team, and that looks a lot like ENCE versus Penta earlier today.
Right, there's two other sites on here that you can go to as well. You could see a hookah billiards hold, you could see a kitchen hold as well, but for whatever reason, Millennium not feeling confident on that, it could simply be something where, let's say, for example, that Snook and Nose did definitively win that ban phase. This could be the one map that Millennium thinks, hey, this is the one we're the least bad on. So let's go here first. But then again, if this is a site, or this is a bomb site, rather, sorry,
I still think that Millennium walked themselves into a ditch by picking Coastline.
Strongly agree.
To be honest, again, this is really through and through a map that Snook and Nose, they like their weird maps. At least that's what it's shown objectively through the data of their performance in the past. So I really just think that S-Nose is going to have an advantage here. And then going on to Oregon, I'm surprised by that pick. They clearly are going to be confident there, but at the same time, that is likely to be the more evenly matched map.
Right. And right now, I think if Snook and Nose takes this, it puts them in very good position to head to Oregon, which, yes, might be more evenly contested. One other standout so far that we haven't really touched upon is how early the lead deaths are happening. I don't know if it's just simply rotations a little bit too late as, you know, first little bout, but look at that. Steezy gets a kill on the Secretly, and this is, I think, like the 4th or 5th round in a row that somebody has died in the first minute. Snookin will answer back as down goes Yakurts.
Yeah, today has been a really fast-paced day between the match we just watched with Penta and ENCE, and now S-Nose versus Millennium. All 4 of these teams being very aggressive, and it really contrasts the play that we saw with a couple days ago in Latin America. Renewal is going to get a kill on 2 Ares, and that's going to be a lead extension from S-Nose, and now a 3-on-3 as Renshiro takes out Snookin elsewhere. And it's going to be evening out. Meepy eliminates Steezy though, and now Renshiro challenging on to Renewals is not going to win that fight. Lackey's going to come up from behind and be the teammate he needs to be to get that kill. Now it's all down to Liven in a 1 versus 3. That has been a very quick round so far. We're only just barely hitting the half-round point, and now it's down to Liven on the roam game to be able to retake the bomb site from 3 attackers. That does not bode well.
No, this flurry of activity seems to be happening every time within the first 60 seconds. I don't know what it is. There's something in the water today here in Coastline, but now Liven's going to need to try to deal with that castle barricade, and he's essentially barricaded himself out, except Lackey will be picked up, and a Nitro Cell will at some point be used as a distraction. That will tip off Snook and Nose to where his location is, but he will, of course, go through another way. And you can see Hold Up just inside of that courtyard, but Diffuser going down. His job of claiming this round for his team and not going to match point just got even more difficult.
Yeah, and as you can tell, Snook and Nose not going to be doing anything unnecessary, just waiting patiently. It's likely to see Meepy get the kill here as you see the Pulse challenging from the hallway. Meepy's on the far angle inside of the other bomb site inside of A. He will actually lose that fight. Liven, an excellent headshot onto Meepy. Putting it into 1 versus 2, it's evening out somewhat, but he doesn't have a lot of time to defuse the Diffuser. He's going to have to contend from above, not see anyone, go back down, and he's out of time. So it was a nice try from Liven. He did get the excellent kill there onto the Ash, but unfortunately, despite getting him another kill onto Renewals, there's just not enough time to stop the Diffuser, and Lackey will get the final kill of the round. That is going to put it on to match point 4-2 now in favor of S-Nose.
And I think that is potentially going to be it because, though, maybe not, actually. S-Nose is now going to go to defense.
Right, and they've only won one of those.
And they're the only one who have won anything. And I don't know what it is. I don't know why these attacks are working so strongly. I think it really speaks to the fact that right now both these teams are not so confident and well-practiced here. We were giving a lot of praise to Snook and Nose for how they played on Coastline, but in all reality, it could have just been a match that they were able to cobble together very convincingly, and it might not be a map where they are the strongest, rather, and the most practiced on defense. I think that shows when an attacking team is able to pick your defense apart that profoundly. I think it's largely because you are not prepared as well on that map as you are on others.
I would argue that S-Nose is actually better at Skyscraper, and the fact that Skyscraper made it to the 3rd map is kind of weird to me. And again, Oregon is going to be, in my opinion, the evenly matched one. Millennium are going to have a better chance there. So it's likely I'm still thinking we're seeing map number 3 here between these 2 teams. I'm thinking Millennium, while they might lose here, they might still come back. The ones, whoever comes out on top on on Coastline is likely going to lose on Oregon just if through nothing else, sheer force of will, because there's a lot on the line for both of these teams in terms of placement inside of the Pro League and what that means for them.
Right. And like we've said before, it's a situation where sadly neither of these teams are competing for a land spot, but there is still bragging rights on the line.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not really even bragging. I don't know if it's bragging rights. It's more like understanding of one's position in the universe, thus allowing you to further, more accurately address the next season. Is how I think of it. Like if you come in 3rd place, you're like, yeah, we can make land next season, 100%. You come in 4th place and you're thinking to yourself, oh, maybe we need to change our roster, maybe we have to adjust this. You know, it's just a little bit less. Oh wow, a nice angle there from Meepy through the drop down, gonna take out Renshiro, but. Yeah, that is Snook and Nose now, putting it in 5-on-3 or 5-on-4 match point, and they're looking to lock things out.
And Renshiro going down, a Blackbeard plays a pretty significant role on this site, especially covering that window by Sunrise Bar and especially by Blue Bar, depending on how they want to push in. Now without Renshiro, it's going to be a monumental task. And Meepy's going to look to rotate. And next step here, Yogurt's going to try to dispel or dislodge, rather, those mirror windows. And hit by the Elamine will be Liven as he pushes in. Nobody really there to capitalize on it just yet. As Renewals gets around the corner, tries to get Ares, can't do it. He'll head back into Projector Room.
Yeah, Renewal's playing a dangerous game there. While Liven was Elamined, he very easily would have hit that shot. He had the lineup perfectly onto the Renewal's angle, but because the Kapkan didn't commit, you're not going to see the man count even out just yet. Another Kapkan play, by the way, that is, honestly, he's really booming in all of the different regions as an operator because of the recent buff.
Liven has his back to Kapkan, so if Renewals is able to sneak around this corner, he sees Ares, gets one, goes for two, he gets it! Renewals huge to put his team up by 3. That's a big play from him, and now secretly jumps in. It's just Yogurts left, one against the world. Snookin finishes it off, and S-Nose is going to take map number 1 by a score of 5-2.
Brisk jog of a map, and now it's going to be moving on to map number 2, which is S-Nose's pick, Oregon. Millennium picked Coastline, which, again, I really think they walked themselves into, like, that was a bad decision.
It was not the greatest decision.
It was, okay, sure, not the greatest decision. And I think on Oregon, Millennium will definitely have a better shot, despite it being S-Nose's pick.
Right. And I'm not surprised to see this. Millennium needed a little bit of that luck that Supremacy had on this map. Unfortunately, it didn't really work out for them. But now we head to Oregon, a map that is a bit more standardized, one that both teams should be very comfortable on. Now, of course, don't take it away from these teams, because even though almost every single team needs to have some level of proficiency on Oregon, there is a very clear divide between the teams that favor it strongly and those that only play it out of necessity. We will see which of these teams is more poised to strike as we head to it. But Snookin knows now one away from getting 3rd overall, and like we said, that would be big for them since they are currently in search of an organization.
Right, you are. And as these highlights dwindle down, the 3rd map of the series, let's talk about it, Skyscraper. Again, we did briefly discussed how I think Snookin knows probably won this band phase overall. And if Millennium can make do on what I expect of them and win on Oregon, pushing it to that 3rd map, I don't know if they're going to have enough to push a win out on Skyscraper. That is, I would say that Snookin Nose is more proficient on Skyscraper than they are on Coastline by far. One
of the things that we've seen with Snookin Nose a number of times is that they don't typically tend to play close matchups. I think that I can't recall the last time that Snookin Nose played a match where it went really, really tight. I think it was 1 against Supremacy, but other than that, it seems to be like a 5-1 or a 5-2 in both directions. Either they get blown out or they end up dominating. As you can see, a 5-2 is pretty definitive here now. We'll load up Oregon and take you to the battlegrounds as Snookin Nose gives themselves one more potential opportunity to take 3rd place, or Millennium mounts its comeback here and now.
Laundry Room Supply Room from Millennium to start us off. That is the safer bet, I would say, when you're not sure what's going on in terms of momentum. You may as well take the Anchorage site, and that stands to reason. Now, we've been seeing a lot of focus on the meeting hall when defending the basement from most regions, and I'm guessing we're going to see something similar here for Millennium. They have brought a Mira, which is pretty freaking typical for a basement hold. They also have a Kapkan, though, and that, to me, screams West Side Roam. But that's a dangerous prospect. We've seen some successful West Side roams in the past. It's still, though, not the easiest thing to pull off.
No, and a Kapkan figuring into this is going to be a big question mark for me, because this doesn't seem like the type of site that I would layer with lots of Kapkan traps.
Like I said, the only situation where I see Kapkan being overly useful is if you're going to be roaming over in the west.
Right.
Like, other than that, all of the doors that are being contended will be contended for, or contested rather, for a long time.
Right.
Like, you're going to have people staring at the door frame for like 30 seconds, and then, oh, look, there's a Kapkan. It's not likely that they're going to see use. So I think this might be just a preference pick, given that we aren't seeing anything going on the west side right now from, oh, nope, there it is. Kapkan, west side, going to be putting it down into the kitchen, and this is exactly the situation where I think he could be actually very useful.
And what I was gonna mention is that as well, a lot of the ways to get inside rely on those white stairs, in which somebody will usually throw a grenade to take care of the barbed wire, which will also take care of the Kapkan trap, but also the hatches being the main way for you to get into the basement, which of course, as of right now, at least you can't throw a Kapkan trap there. But we'll see. The experiment with Ela doesn't work out. Meepy gets lead-off kill in round number 1 of map number 2. And down goes the roaming play. And Snook and Nose already putting themselves in good position. You can see Liven just behind that mattress inside of kids' dorms. Renewal's doing some bobbing and weaving as he's looking to try to maybe get Liven, who I'm not certain if he's been droned out yet or not. But regardless, they will start to pressure in on him. It looks like Lackey is going to go for it as well. And Renshiro, the Kapkan, goes down. He still has some charges. You can see Renewals will need to check those doorways. And that's one thing that Kapkan does bring, which is uncertainty.
Yeah, and the uncertainty in this instance, that gamble not paying off for the defenders. Liven, the last roamer, left alive on the west side. Roam unsuccessful truly and wholly, as it did not waste time, nor did it get a single kill. And he's going to have to fall back to Meeting Hall. Inside of Meeting Hall, he doesn't have a lot of defensible positions either. There's not a lot of utility placed for him to be able to survive here. He's actually going to get aggressive onto Secretly. Secretly's not going to expect this. Liven will get the diffuser as well as a kill onto Secretly, denying the Hibana any of those drop downs being opened up. Getting a little bit more aggressive, he's going to push into the hallway, the main hallway, and Lackey will be trying to address him from behind. He will see the head of the Jaeger, not get the shot, but it will finally come through. Lackey with half HP will eventually get the diffuser. A C4, I think?
That was a Kapkan trap.
Was it a Kapkan trap?
Absolutely was.
None of the attackers coming through that doorway yet in the round, and the Kapkan trap will down Lackey. Unfortunately, though, it's not ultimately going to mean anything. It will waste 10 seconds, nothing more, as Lackey was already pretty much on half HP, and now he's effectively just been reset.
And Meepy and them will begin their push now in through Meeting Hall. We hit the minute mark. It leaves up Steezy and Ares as the Mira and Legion. And of course, don't discredit the fact that you still have all of those goo mines in play. And one of the things that works with the site is the ability to hit them. Now, Lackey is going to inch around the corner. Steezy is waiting, but looks away at the last second, and he'll get flushed out. A great shot from Meepy leaves just Ares. The Mira will have to do a 1v3. And has that Mira as an advantage. A C4 will go out and pushes nothing there as Meepy starts to get in towards the Mira window. Ares can see the tip of his head. Looks around the corner. Doesn't see him. What is going on? Meepy looks again, and the Mira doesn't prevail. Meepy, a great second kill. And Snook and Nose wins round number 1 and puts themselves 4 rounds away from closing this out.
An aggressive round as well from Snook and Nose, and more aggression from Millennium. I can't say that that was the right decision. Roaming 3 people west side, that's too dangerous. I mean, we've talked about it before in the past. One single person on the west, upstairs or downstairs, is a risk, and I don't know if it's worth taking ever. 3 people, that is a huge gamble. They really threw everything into that pot, and it did not pay out.
And that is going to continue our trend of the attackers dominating so far. Only 2 defensive wins out of the 8 rounds that we've played so far today. So only a quarter of the rounds have gone to the teams that have been defending. And now Snook and Nose going to defense. We'll try to make that 3 out of potentially 9.
Defense of the top floor here instead of the basement. Like you said, it's good variation, but I don't know if it's going to be the right call here from Snook and Nose either. Similar to how we had Millennium go to the basement and then roam hard. Is this the right call to open yourself up like this? I think it is. I think Snook will probably have a better bet of defending top floor if they're going to roam into the kitchen, but at the same time, I don't know. It's interesting. We'll see if it pays out for them. They do have a good setup for it, though. Valkyrie is going to give you a lot of information, especially on the north side of the building when you can throw a camera outside, which is exactly what Lackey is looking to do right this second. Doesn't even matter where it lands. If it lands in the open field, it's still going to get you a lot of info.
Unless it breaks because it goes out of bounds.
Unless it breaks, yeah. You know it didn't used to? It used to be, wow, an aggressive spawn peek from Meepy using that ACOG of the dock to take out the Blackbeard early on. That's a very important operator to have off the field. Means now you can think about nothing but headshots. You don't have to worry about that face shield.
There are 3 opportunities for a Blackbeard to wreak havoc there. On that big window, which they won't be able to do. You can't perch them up there anymore. On the windows in kids' dorms, to try and flush you out, now you might see the sledge go there and throw a grenade in, or to push down through Armory. None of those available for them now. It's going to make their push a lot more difficult.
Yeah, but as I was trying to talk about, it was it used to be that the Valkyrie cams was it used to be the Valkyrie camps. When they hit outbounds, they, instead of getting broken, they just kind of fell down. So you could throw a Valkyrie camp as far as you could, right, outside, and it would just hit the out of bounds and hit the floor and be like really hard to spot. So that was a good change that they implemented.
I'm happy with it too, and Lackey's going to be able to get 0 damage here. That is, I would say, a waste of both of those grenades. You would usually see them try to push somebody in Kidstorms there. Once again, now Millennium have just wasted 2 tools to try to push out one of the defenders or more, in with Renshiro passing and then the grenades being of no use as well.
Yeah, plus you still have Snook and Nose positioned well inside of the junk tower. And with control over small tower, you don't really have to think too much about any pressure coming from the main west window. And now Snook is going to get a kill onto Steezy, and it's looking even worse now for Millennium. You even have Secretly at the bottom of tower stairs waiting for the push to come from Millennium, and you can see that they're still working on tower control with 2 minutes of the round almost passing.
Snookin will get downed. You can see the smoke goes down inside of Kids' dorms, but they're unable to finish him off. But Yogurts gets a kill on the Secretly, so the flank will not work. Lackey is going to wait on the other side of Attic. They thought they knew he was up there, and they weren't able to get him with both of the frag grenades of Steezy. He'll now try to waste some time and do so quite well. He will. Renewal's still waiting to see a push through that broken window. You can see just inside of office storage. Lackey's going to give up that Attic. A smart move now is he's been able to kill 20 minutes or 20 seconds, not 20 minutes, but 20 seconds off the clock. That would be quite a hold.
Yeah.
And now he's just going to wait because he still has that opportunity for them to push all the way up and get them on the other rotate hole that leads in towards the main hallway. Liven has exited the building looking to come back in. Renewals is poised to potentially get him if he goes in through the side of small tower. And now Yogurt's being able to advance strongly through Attic. Final 20 seconds in round number 2. Snook and Nose looking to put themselves up by 2 instead of 1. You can see those smoke grenades will go down. Renewal's trying to get anybody pushing up to that to the big window. He sees Ares, goes for a peek, can't do it, but he's just going to waste some time. Yogurts gets 1, but 2 as Meepy and Renewals get kills for Snook and Nose. It's just Liven who on the stairs will be downed by Meepy. He got the first kill and the last, and now Snook and Nose not only wins a defensive round, but also continues to inch closer to wrapping this up.
Yeah, it's been a while since actually it's been a long time since Millennium has won a round. That's, I think, 6 rounds. No, it's 7 rounds in a row for Snook and Nose. So they are very much seemingly dominant on this series.
It's been good from them, and they did very well at the start, and I thought that watching the beginning of Coastline, I thought to myself, we got ourselves a ball game. This is going to go quite the distance. But Snook and Nose has been outpacing them almost every single way, and with how attacker favored this has been, now they go to attack, a potential to put them up 3-0.
And as you can see there, Meepy, as we were talking about earlier, one of those players that seriously stands out from the pack, a diamond in the rough on Snook and Nose. He does a lot of work for his team. I think he's one of the lead strategists, one of the IGLs as well, and then also some of the best name in the game.
Also just a nice, charming bloke with a wonderful accent. And it's been nice to always hear him when he does his interviews. So get the major commendation, as I said. So with that, they will go downstairs. Because Millennium, of course, has not been successful on any site so far. They are capable of going where they choose. They will opt for the safety and security of laundry and supply room into the basement. Something touched upon can often be a very wise choice, as Renshiro tosses out at least 1 black eye and still has a second left at his disposal too, and will opt to put it under the table just inside of the living room / dining hall. And Snook and Nose very wary of any potential peeks. That's one thing, too, is that it sets the tone. When you get a spawn kill or a spawn peek or anything along those lines, expect your opponents to do the same. They spot one of those black eyes very, very well and take it off the front of that school bus.
Didn't even have to use the IQ for that one. But as something to note is we've been seeing a lot of IQ play, and I think it's a direct answer to the Kapkans that have been brought as of late. Millennium not going to choose to bring Kapkan in this instance. They are typically a team that tends to stick to the older meta. It works for them, though, because coupled with their aggression, as you can see Renshiro displaying quite flagrantly right here as he challenges onto the bottom of White Stairs window. Coupled with their aggression, it usually pays out dividends for them. Now, the attackers going to be contending pretty much every single angle, and there's still a very present roam game going on the west side for Millennium, which previously has been taken apart, I would say, pretty efficiently from S-Nose, and you could see that Millennium's invested slightly less this time than they have in the past. Renshiro's playing inside of Classroom instead of upstairs with the rest of his teammates, but I think he's been spotted out. Renewal's going to get a kill on Diagerts, and Lackey going to nade Renshiro in just a second, only doing a lot of damage, not getting the kill or the down, and Renshiro will trade with Lackey. Meepy's following up with the kill, but that should have just been a 5-3 situation right there instead of it being a 4-3 now.
I don't think Lackey was prepared for the Valkyrie to get up and challenge him the way they did. But now Steezy has given his position away. Luckily has that rotate hole through the attic to be able to get back onto site. But Meepy can simply wait. You see the drone will work its way over towards Steezy to try and find him out as Meepy is ready to embrace him and will push up towards the rear stage and tower stairs where the Legion sits before he jogs on down into the halls next to supply room and laundry room in the basement.
Contesting the meeting hall, but there's no one from defense there to address the push. Two of the defenders all the way down in the basement. Meanwhile, Liven all the way above the main lobby. I don't think he's been spotted by the defenders, and he's going to be above two of the, the attackers. He's going to be up two of them right now. Secretly, Renewal's completely exposed to Liven, but he's waiting for the perfect opportunity. He's going to down Renewals and finish him off from above, and now he's giving away his position. He's going to have to rotate through attic over to tower before it's being spotted by Meepy, and Meepy, unfortunately, unable to hit the shots, uncharacteristic of him, as the rest of his team pushes into the bomb site, attempting to plant the diffuser inside of B. 10 seconds though, and Steezy's gonna get a kill into Secretly. Meepy a refrag before Ares gets to one of his own. Snookin now another refrag. Back and forth here between these two teams, but Liven, the last one alive, is gonna be able to come back from behind and drop down in the hallway. The mark will give away this planting Snookin, and that is all she wrote. Millennium getting their first round in a long time and putting themselves finally on the board.
And it will be Millennium's first defensive win so far today, and it comes in round number 10.
And not only their first defensive win, but also their first win in 8 rounds. That's pretty substantial.
Very
and
substantial.
Hopefully for them, it will be a shift in the momentum, allowing them to push it onto Skyscraper.
Right.
Only time will tell, though. We're only 3 rounds in. This has been a pretty fast map, similar to Coastline, what we saw earlier. And Millennium are looking much better, at least so far. Now, a lot of that last round has to do with the fact that S-Nose didn't commit to clearing out the roamers the same way they did last time. They got a little bit distracted on that first floor and didn't actually take anything from the top floor of the west side of the building. Because of that, Liven was allowed to just kind of linger. I mean, he didn't really commit to pushing down to helping his teammates, but he ended up being the one who won the round for this team overall because he just waited patiently for Millennium, or Snookin Nose, excuse me, to ignore him.
And full accountability where it's due. Meepy had a wonderful opportunity to pick Liven off on those stairs and just simply missed his first couple shots. And at that point, wasn't able to do enough work. And yes, 8 kills right now, a Herculean effort on part of him to keep Snookin Nose afloat and really doing a great job. If he gets shut down, that is a problem for this team each round. And now on attack goes Millennium, largely through construction is where they will spawn. Take out the default cams, even though their spawn location will be largely given out now. And Meepy considering even going for a spawn peek. He was successful before, but it might be too late in the round for him to attempt it.
Since this window isn't already prepped, if he starts to try and prep it now, it will be watched for the next 30 seconds in all likelihood, considering Millennium is so invested on the north side of this tower. You can tell there's 3 of the attackers here waiting to take control over a big tower, and once they have asserted that control, they will likely start to push in through the stairs and the construction tunnel. That is, at least appears to be Millennium's strategy moving into this round.
And softening up that wall is the Blackbeard of Renshiro, who has been an early casualty of a number of rounds, but will live past the 45-second mark.
Oh,
Steezy
wow.
gets up, and just outside of range of Meepy, can't see quite over top of him, but they will now drone him out, and you'll see he'll need to retreat.
Smart play, though, from Meepy not getting too aggressive on that angle. He could have just been a couple inches higher, and he would have seen the head of that sledge, but I think it's the safe bet to play passive as he did. Now, S-Nose, similar to Millennium, have invested quite a lot in their west side roam, but Millennium is just ignoring it full force. Liven going to get the first kill of the round on the Secretly. Renewals a refrag onto Liven, so that's a successful roam game already, especially considering half the round has progressed here.
And all you've lost is your Jaeger, too, but you've now lost Liven, one of the best players, of course, on Millennium, and your Ashe down, too, was able to clutch it out last round, and now Renewal still reigns from above, but they're poised and ready to take care of them. The push will come through the back, and I'm not entirely certain why, but they are still wasting a lot of time. They have not been able to get the hatches, but you can hear from the audio in the background that that is something that they finally get to do. They have not gotten the hatch inside of main lobby, and of course, this is a very north-heavy push. Not a lot of emphasis whatsoever on anybody in main lobby, and you've got to think that this could be a big mistake.
There's only 2 anchors right now from SNO, so if the aggression gets really turned into, if it gets turned up right now from Millennium and they start pushing into the bomb site, they might be able to catch the SNO's defense off guard if they can get just these 2 frags onto Meepy and Snookin, but the rotations are coming back from Enchiro and Lackey.
And you can see Meepy is ready to strike just outside of that bomb casing, waiting for one to push in. He does see Steezy, and he's just going to try to bait him as he peeks slowly, and Steezy goes down. That's Diffuser as well. Renshiro will have to tag up and pick it up. And of course, even as deadly accurate as that ACOG can be, you don't want to tussle with that shield of a Blackbeard. Ares will look around the corner. Yogurts gets a kill. Meepy will get another. A good round from him. He's going to get pushed from 2 angles, and Yogurts takes him down as Yogurts gets 2. And Renewals jumps in. Down goes Yogurts. Renshiro done, and Snookin' Nose on a clutch from Renewals will put Snookin' Nose up 3-1.
An excellent round there for SNOs, but honestly, you got to attribute that loss to Millennium's play. What did they do there? They took 2 minutes to clear out the tower and the meeting hall, and then in the last 45 seconds of the round started pushing into the bomb site, having done 0 work on the roam game. I mean, okay, not 0 work. They took out the Jaeger, fair enough, but it was refragged, right? It wasn't an advantageous position for the attackers. In fact, was bad. It was to their detriment that they even got that kill because of what they had to give up in Lackey. So not Lackey, excuse me, Liven. So overall, a lack of a serious roam clear, and then a simple wasting of time when they're pushing in from the construction and the tower, plus Meepy and Renewal's performance so far, specifically Meepy though, has resulted in it being a very significant lead in favor of Snookin' Nose.
They were not able to catch Renewals as he lingered above, and then he was able to retake that site, which is something that we've said on a couple of occasions, is that you ignore certain roamers at your peril, and Renewals was able to come in and strike, getting those final 2 kills to clutch it out.
Right, yeah, they were unable, but it seems like they didn't even try too. And that's the problem, is because they're not even trying to clear out those roam. I mean, arguably, inarguably, the best way to attack the basement by ignoring the roam game is probably just to attack through construction and tower. But if you're going to do that, you have to position somebody inside of Meeting Hall to deny the roamers later in the round. And there wasn't that person from Millennium. It was a simple no-holds-barred push in through the tower hallway and the construction tunnel. Or not even the construction tunnel, just the tower hallway, which is kind of worrisome. I don't know. It was kind of a one sort of push.
And it was a good push. Now, mind you, we don't see a lot of success from construction pushes usually.
We really don't.
Not at all. And it's fallen out of favor largely because of the changes made to Ying and the changes with smokes. It's a lot more beneficial for you to decide to go for a push from that main hatch in main lobby. But in an occasion like this, you wound up with a pretty valiant effort that ultimately bared no fruit.
Much like that nade from Lackey, which will explode a little bit too early, timed for way too long, and as a result, we're going to have Steezy still alive inside of those lockers. Renshiro elsewhere is going to take out Renewals. That's a good kill there. Millennium putting up a lot of fight here on the bottom of the west side of this floor. Renshiro, though, peeking into secretly is going to get taken out, and Lackey another kill onto Steezy, and the Snookin' Nose flexing their muscles again and establishing the dominance that we've been seeing so flagrantly displayed in this match so far.
And that's 2 roamers down as well, you know, and you had them both bandied up by bathroom and then one just inside of dining hall, and they didn't last very long, 1 bit.
I have to say, honestly, I feel like Steezy and Renshiro there just getting a little ahead of themselves, peeking unnecessary angles instead of just waiting, because there's not a lot of time left in this round. 1 minute. It took Snookin' Nose a lot of time to get those kills, but it could have been so much more. Except the aggression that we're seeing from Millennium just is not paying off for them. And it's typical Millennium, though. Usually this works for them. It's just not in the circumstance, and when we need to see them mix things up.
Snookin' is proving to have, or Snookin' Nose rather, is proving to have a very good set of counters. And you'll have to work on the Liven, Ares, and Yogurt's combo that remains for them at the moment. You see Yogurts and Ares are both wedged on site, and they just need to find the pulse now of Liven, who is going to be the true wild card here. Of course, the smoke inside of Kids Dorms is nothing out of the ordinary whatsoever. Liven going to come up, and wow, what a shot from Meepy. He will add to the 10 kills that he already has, and he's going to get Yogurts too, so it's just up to Ares, who Meepy will choke through that gas before having to back off. Ares in great position. He gets secretly as he vaults through the window, tries to go for another, and Snookin takes him down. On match point we go, and what a performance from Snookin on Oregon so far.
Honestly, I'm really surprised right now by this scoreline. 4-1 match point. I was thinking this was going to be map number 3. I was also thinking that Snookin Knows was going to be putting up more of a fight on Oregon of all maps, one of the most commonly played maps in the entire Pro League through every region, than on Coastline. But surprises happen, and Millennium seemingly just off their game today. Right now, Snookin Knows on it as well, especially Meepy with, I believe, 12 kills right now. Very impressive performance coming out from him. Interestingly, he's going to be playing Doc on this round. It's just funny because he's been playing with Hollow on Ashe.
Meepy, though, has been running a lot of ACOGs on defense, to be fair. We saw him on Rook, and we saw him on Doc on Coastline, so nothing...
It's just weird. It's counterintuitive to the typical site picks for most players. Usually you're going to see ACOGs on attack, Hollows on defense, or Reflexes on defense, or what have you. But Meepy really standing apart, going for ACOG on defense and Hollow on attack. It just kind of... I think it sings to his play style, is what it is. He's a very aggressive player with some great aim, and you can see it's been working out for him in both defense and attack.
A great job so far today by the Brit, and a masterful performance as he is currently sitting at 12-2.
Yeah, but there is a lot to be attributed to the rest of his team as well, because it's not just Meepy doing all this work. You know, you've got everyone from S-Nose putting in a lot of effort with the droning as well as getting their kills of their own. You got to remember the support players. They exist, and if it weren't for them, it would be a much, much harder game, I'm sure.
I'm waiting for somebody to wander out just by that police barricade. Liven might actually take the fight, and it looks like he's going to.
Uh-oh.
He gets spotted. What a kill from Meepy to open up this round. Liven not even paying attention, and that is exactly why the ACOG proves to be so fearsome. And Meepy now will get, I think that is either his 2nd or 3rd spawn kill this matchup.
Yeah, he's been pretty aggressive, I would say, in a word, on both attack and defense. And Snookin gonna get another kill onto Ares. And now a 5-on-3 match point. It's looking like a pretty, I'm going to be honest, a completely dominant performance here from S-Nose as Snookin vaults outside, takes out Steezy, now a 2-on-5. And it doesn't even, yep, there it is. The refrag will come out. Thankfully for Yogurts, that is very important. If he had been allowed, if Snookin had been allowed to get away with that, it would have been, I think, the end of the match. But there's still potential. 2 versus 4, it's not impossible. You do have still a Blackbeard on the main west window, and he's going to be contesting onto the A-bomb site. It's really just on Snookin Knows to not peek and wait patiently to win this round.
Yep, and this could be the end right here. A quick jiggle peek onto the Blackbeard of Renshiro will not prove to get anything at all, and Renshiro gets his shield broken and looks to try to pick away at that window. You can see Yogurts now waiting to see if Renewals or anybody else is going to try to push up through that tower, and he is in good position to strike. Renewals coming up, and Yogurts just waits.
This is really unfortunate to see. Renewals has done this a lot, and he will finally be shut down, but Meepy elsewhere will take out Renshiro, and also down to Yogurts. Now, okay, Meepy gonna get another kill. That's, I think, 14, 15 kills.
15 kills.
15 kills from Meepy.
What a wonderful showing.
Yeah, but I just want to talk about how that angle he's challenging right now, that's not supposed to work. That is one of the most commonly peaked angles that are from a player at the top of White Stairs, and it's unfortunate to see Millennium unable to shut that down, especially Renshiro on a Blackbeard. That's like you win that fight, man.
You win that fight 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, Meepy just outperforming right now, but also importantly, something's going on with Millennium. It wasn't their day today, and it will be a 2-0 favor of Snookin Knows.
Now the unsponsored no-org team of Snookin Knows, currently Orgless, are able to prevail by a score of 2-0. They will take the 3rd place in Europe, and the Millennium, of course, taking 4th place. We'll load up the highlights for you, and just before we go into the highlights, don't exit the broadcast just yet, because coming up afterwards, once we finish the highlights and sign off of these matches, we will be doing our picking for LAN seeding. So you will get to see what teams will be facing off against which teams now that we have the definitive ranking with the Penta and ENCE final in the book. So hold on, hold tight. The broadcast is not ending, but let's load up the highlights first and foremost. I just wanted to get that out of the way.
Very important information.
So that you know not to tune out just yet.
Yeah, so we know all the teams that will be going to the LAN from all the different regions. We just have to see who they're going to be playing against in the bracket.
I'm excited, and we're going to get to do this live. We will take a bit of a break first, but in the meantime, just stay tight because stay tuned and stay tight. Hang tight.
Do all the things.
Do all the things, and then we will go to exactly who will be playing who.
Maybe, you know, go to the dentist real quick, and then we'll be back in 5 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes or so.
Yeah. No, but yeah, it's been some great matches between these two teams. A lot more dominant than I was thinking. 2-2-0s. I wasn't expecting that, especially in the Penta-ENCE matchup. I was thinking that was going to go all the way. Actually, no, honestly, I thought both of these matchups were going to go all the way. But all the same, it is going to be no serious alteration of any of the results. Because, again, technically speaking, this was a seeding match, which is going to result in Snook and Nose getting that 3rd seed. But ultimately, that means more for the next season than it does for this. And then for the other match, it wasn't for the invite spot because Penta has already... Okay, let's just talk about this for a second. Penta has now qualified for the Invitational 3 times, which is crazy. There are 2 teams that are going to get to go to the Invitational because Penta had already qualified. That's Elevate from the last season's finals and ENCE from this season's playoffs finals. But let's take a look at the bracket and see exactly what is going to be the final result here. As you can tell, ENCE losing 2-0 to Penta, Millennium losing 2-0 to Snook and Nose, and it's going to be no big changes, but Penta will secure their 1st seed and ENCE will come in as 2nd seed for the finals.
So no matter what, we will see both those teams at the Invitational. It's going to be a great show nonetheless. Yep. It's going to be a heck of a fight, and we've got a lot of potential teams that could be making it as well, and we'll find that out in the coming months. But first and foremost, let's head to a break, and then we will be right back to do the actual seeding matchup for LAN, and you'll get to see which teams will face off against one another in Sao Paulo. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. My name is Parker Interrobang Mackay, and joined once again by Michael Kickstar Stockley. And we are doing the seeding show today. So for those that are curious, essentially what happens is now that the regular season is completely finished, we have to figure out how these teams are going to play one another in Sao Paulo, Brazil in a couple weeks. And what you have in front of us here is it's very difficult to see, but we have 2 containers that contain 4 capsules apiece, and that will be showing us how these teams are going to play. Now, in Kickstar's hands are the 4 first-place teams. And in particular order, Irons was the first team from APAC to claim the first overall for their region. And then Continuum got second, Black Dragons got third, and then Penta just got fourth. The second place teams that are coming in their regions are Mantis FPS from APAC, from North America, Infamy from Latin America, Font Energy, and then from just now in EU, ENCE. So essentially the way this is going to work is that Kickstar is going to be starting us off with the first place seeds. He's going to be opening the capsule. He's going to pull the name out of it. He's going to read it, turn it around. He's going to show you it, and then a nice graphic will pop up on the screen to show exactly where they are. And a couple rules. Number 1, teams in the same region cannot play each other. So if the first ball selected is Irons and then the second ball selected from here is Mantis FPS, they will get bumped down the list because a region cannot meet each other in the first round.
Right.
You'll see it in action in just a moment.
Yeah, and I believe we'll be doing all of the first seeds first and then all of the second seeds. And here we have the seeding being brought up, as you can see here. So without further ado, let's get things started.
He'll start with capsule number 1. You can see, nice and shiny.
So it's going to be Irons for the first pick out of the first seed pool. Irons will be thrown up there on the board in but a moment.
The first team to finish first overall will also be the first team on the board.
Yeah, look at that.
How coincidental. So these balls were, of course, shuffled up, so we can't see inside of them. And, of course, we didn't get to open them at all. Our production staff did all of this, so.
Yeah. Now let's start with ball number 2 and see who's going to be the next first seed on the board. It is going to be Continuum from North America as our second first seed out of this pool.
It's going in order so far. It's very coincidental.
It's kind of weird, yeah.
So Continuum will be number 2. Black Dragons and Penta are the last ones left, and we'll see if they can break the trend or if we're going to go with the actual order in which
here you go,
they
number
actually
3.
Finished.
Penta Sports will be the number 3 seed. So we finally break the order of qualification, and Penta will take number 3 in the qualifier number 3.
And now we know that Font is going to be the last one, but just open it just in case to show everybody because, of course, being the last capsule, there is no confusion whatsoever, just so the people at home know.
Black Dragons.
And there you are. So Black Dragons will be the last one placed.
And now we are done with the first seeds out of all of these different regions. As you can see, they're over there on your right side of the screen. And now we have the second seeds out of each region. And Interrobang will be starting with... Which one are you going to start with, Interrobang? Here we go.
I feel this one's a little lucky here. So we'll start this off, and we'll go with this one's a little bit difficult to open.
So whoever it is in that capsule, if they're not from the same region as Irons, they will be playing against Irons to start things off. So we'll see.
We'll take a look, and the Brazilians, Team Font, will meet up against Irons in the first quarterfinal of Sao Paulo in hopes of advancing for their region.
So it's going to be a APAC team going up against a Brazilian team to start things off. I think that's going to be a very interesting matchup. 2 extremely different metas meeting each other there.
And 2 very different styles of play as well. The very hyper-aggressive Font. Now, this is going to be our second ball here. As long as it's not Infamy, this team will meet Continuum in the quarterfinals, and we will take a look here. And ENCE will face off against Continuum. That is going to be an absolutely incredible matchup. They have a monumental task ahead of them.
Wow.
That is going to be
a great
big
match.
Test.
That's a really good one right off the bat for you guys. I cannot wait for the finals.
Now, the last ones that we have left, since both of these teams are off the board, we know that no matter what happens, Penta and Black Dragons will face these because the 2 remaining teams are both APAC and North American teams, so we will not need to actually redraw these. So, Penta, the reigning champions, will face off against Mantis FPS. So
There it is.
APAC will have its first challenge against the 2-time defending champions in Pentasport.
See, that's a pretty big challenge for Mantis early on in the bracket there. You know, of course, they are the most the newest region to the Pro League, so that's gonna be pretty difficult. But wish them luck. And Continuum versus ENCE, I think, is probably the best match we've got so far. But the final one, of course, is going to be, let's drum roll,
Black
please.
Dragons versus... We all know it. It's
we all
by
know.
process of elimination.
But we can just kind of throw it up there. Infamy
Infamy.
versus Black Dragons. So we have APAC versus BR, Continuum, or excuse me, NA versus Europe, Europe versus APAC, and BR versus NA. That's going to be your bracket here, ladies and gentlemen, and it's pretty exciting stuff. For the most part, I'm excited for quarterfinal number 2. Continuum versus ENCE is going to be a great one.
I think that might be that is going to be an absolute
Showstopper?
Yeah, it's going to be a real showstopper.
Yeah.
You know, CTM is going to need to be ready, and Shate is going to need some extra power from that wonderful wig of his in order to do battle with them. So there you go. These are the teams that we are going to see match up. So for every single member of these rosters, start counter-stratting, start watching VODs, dry running, and preparing yourselves to face off, because the other thing too is you know who you're going to be facing in the next round. So if you are Mantis FPS and you beat Penta, you know that you've got Black Dragons or Infamy up next. You can start doing some actual homework and prep work in a couple weeks.
Yeah, this is also the time for these teams to start redefining themselves as a team, start assessing their strategies and seeing what they're going to have to come up against and being like, okay, well, it's likely based upon the way that Ainz attacks here, we should defend in a different way. We should try to mix things up as Team Flaunt. So it's going to be interesting to see those changes and when they come into the finals, but that's in the finals. And now the Pro League is finished for the regular season. This is all that it's going to be. We're done. And moving forward, it's just going to be finals. That's it.
So we will be back live in a number of weeks. On, I believe it's November 17th, 18th, and 19th is when we will be in Brazil, and that's when we will be doing it. But 18th and 19th will be the actual matches themselves. So until then, it has been a real privilege on my behalf to actually do my inaugural season, and I guess my maiden voyage here on Pro League. Thank you so much for having me, and as well, a huge amount of thanks go to our entire production crew, Bloodbath and Emzo for joining us, as well as all the other people that you don't see behind the scenes. It has been a real pleasure. We will see you in Brazil. My name is Parker, and Taro Bang Mackay, signing off with Michael Kickstar Stockley. We'll see you in Brazil.